Yeah. You know, we seek that higher knowledge. Only the ignorant can't relate. We just kill them with love.
We are Moors.
Shout out to the Grand Sheikh, Cujo L, Iron Sheikh. Yeah. Yeah.
We are Moors. Heard what I said? Circle 7 snap back, not just affairs. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Blue, white, green flags, not just red. We are Moors. Heard what I said? Keep talking reckless and hoofties for your head. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Your slave name crest might have a Moor head. We are Moors.
20 Moors rockin', you could call them Moroccans. Racial West adepts, let's get it poppin'. Got a problem with my G? Got a problem with me. I be on the front line rolling 23 deep. I be studying for hours, 7 days a week, working on my higher self, cause the devil don't sleep. Big ups to Cujo L, that's the Iron Sheik. 7's up, facing the east, praising Allah. Astrology, cosmology, that's the real law. I slow roast ya, master the flame like Zoe Roaster. The rise of the new Moors, old hands move over. That Kundalini energy rising up like a cobra. This is training day, mount up with real soldiers. Elevate beyond the hate and claim your lost estate. The only reason you hate is you too blind to relate. The only reason you hate is you too blind to relate.
We are Moors. Heard what I said? Circle 7 snap back, not just affairs. We are Moors. You heard what I said? I don't rock a head, just a turban, no affairs. We are Moors. Heard what I said? Keep talking reckless and hoofties for your head. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Your slave name crest might have a Moor head. Stop talking crazy. You can't be everything but Moors. That's like willing to stay minority and not mature. Therefore, Tosh to be Bay taught the world don't respect you. However, since you wanna be it, you go down when they fall. They, the ones you call government, that's really a corpse. Black man means funeral director. Should make sense, of course. Music is the food and the message, the medicine. Mumble food is poison. I'm with the golden era veterans like Mark D. Condolences. This QB RIP prodigy who studied the history of the Moors and etymology. You missed the Corsica headband, disguised as a bandana. Moorish MC, the real Moroccan, not a French Montana. Kendrick Lamar, you sound right. Trust me, Hebrew's a language. Lupe put Moors in his video, made the point vantage. Yassine Bey knows Sabebe, knows Moorish master MC. Fuquan Bey and Daddy IU on some Moorish degrees. Sprague and Bojuno, they even killed Peter because of Macintosh. Still visit the global planets, hip-hop astronauts, Milky Way flow, rays of tassels, blind unbelievers, to higher than other senses, can still pick up the frequency, pick your addiction, truth will still make itself known, to go platinum now, you gotta give up more plus your soul, watch Professor build pyramids, I watch Drink Champ steady, cause Nori said Drew Ali on a track, so call me Petty, also Martin Moore exec produced the War Report album, Aboriginal Super Cat taught me how to hang and scalp them, Operation Lockdown, video feathers like I said to do. Initiate invasions, activate outdoors every spook. We are Moors. Heard what I said? Circle 7 snap back, not just affairs. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Blue, white, green fairs, not just red. We are Moors. Heard what I said? Keep talking reckless and hoofties for your head. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Your slave name crest might have a Moor head. We are Moors. We are Moors. Heard what I said? We are Moors. Heard what I said? Heard what I said? Heard what I said? said. We are Moors. We are Moors.
As he walked past the city's castle, he interrupted his return and climbed the stone ramp that led to the top of the wall. From there, he could see Africa in the distance. Someone had once told him that it was from there the Moors had come to occupy all of Spain.
Crazy, crazy, crazy. The gods must be crazy. 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 Crazy, crazy. The gods must be crazy.
What you looking up for, God? I'm talking to you. Weed smelling like dead bodies, loving a shoot. Baby goats popping out for government checks. To the honorable moms, no disrespect. I'm not talking about the matriarch, but what the deadbeat dad, fake comrade, two-faced nigga. Stab you in your back multiple times. Homicide and manslaughter, a friendship on the rise. Watch the gods with pseudo doctrines, big shades. I stay back and listen to old school, stay sane. Around the gods, always have a bag of crystals in demons' faces, amethyst missiles. Dirty Moors teach the factors will make you officials when study is beneficial.
Crazy, crazy, crazy. The gods must be crazy. Crazy, crazy. The gods must be crazy. Crazy, crazy. The gods must be crazy. Crazy, crazy. The gods must be crazy.
Enslaved by your own, didn't listen to prophet. Now you're living in sin, one two but can't stop it. You made your bed, lay down, now you sleep standing. Notwithstanding in a dead status, birthright's abandoned. Rather stay dirty instead of turning your card in. Then take your fares off if you're not turning your card in.
Crazy, crazy, crazy. The gods must be crazy.
And conscious means that you're conscious of what's going on in this world. You're fully aware and awake to what's going on in the world. That's what conscious rap means. So if you got conscious rap, that means you got unconscious rap. That means you got motherfuckers that's unconscious rapping. That means they sleeping. They still under the spell of Leviathan. They still under the spell of King.
Call me brother man, I'm not the rubber man. Though I keep my Nazis in affairs wrapped with some rubber bands. Burning out the Ku Klux Klan and with the Grand Dairy Queen misters. Just butts of guns I'm giving, trying to make more sovereign citizens. These minions help kill your prophet, stole your treasury millions. You heard it from your brother man, now the smother sell out. Test links and K2 Kush days keep me red out. I got the knowledge to make these silly hoes question the pimping directors of music videos. Gay laws and persons with strap-on boots with heels. Too much graphic art faces, boobs are not real. Since MCM and Troop, they use Timberland boots to get us all caught up in fashion, not the simple men roots. Got our people on dogmatic, not metaphysic. Exoteric, not esoteric is how you missed it. So out of it, you couldn't feel the natural mystic blowing through the air like it didn't give a shit. I hear the dirty Moors dissing, cause I said profanities. A lot of these grand sheets need to take off the panties. Pull the thong out your crack vest wearing sash, ass nigga. Return to where the prophet found you, Negro, ass nigga.
It's time to choose a side. You either positive or you negative. You either evil or you good. You understand what I'm saying? Choose a side, nigga. I know what side I'm on.
I throw a Molotov at the priest that works for the beast. All they want is our people to rest in peace. No attention of allowing more stress to ease. Cracker won't go home to spread himself the disease. Genocidal epidemic kill us in high proportions. Instead of mummified, we stay boxed in coffins. Mayors attend funerals for PR purposes. Where's the police escort? He replied with nervousness. He said, I don't have those numbers or connections to have Metro Police lead your friend's funeral procession. That's coming from Mr. Mayor, black community player. No question in the hoods dropping off boxes of weapons. Then blame black on black crime or natural causes. Plus those doctors are not on point but off a bit. Natural mystics prove they're not holistic. Hypocrite oaths make your children autistic.
I'm at the point now where I'm saying I'm tired of mixing the medicine with the food. I'm tired of playing that game. Now I'm shoving straight medicine down your fucking throat, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Straight doses of medicine and getting shoved down your throat. I don't give a fuck if it turns you off or not. Because if it do turn you off, then you're stupid, ignorant motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying?
Don't judge like a cover of your favorite book. Visit you in your dreams, hand with the hook. Paralysis overtook, so shook. Stop, look, listen with precision. MC on a mission, vision. Past senses and endless. Cipher with active Morse, beat you with facts senseless. Have your mind defenseless when the truth enters. Outflow reminds me of Omar Bay, Algonquin embers. Tap your pioneer out what some man remembers. All the lies told to your mind dismembered. Circle broken into quadrants, you the seven and the center compass G between the square. Baphomet of Templars, Warlock, call on my witch mothers to maim them. The same wise spirits burned at stakes in Salem. Torture with vagina pair, survive, bobbing for apples. Contort thumb, slide wrist out, tight shackles.
Woo. Iron Sheik 7. Iron Sheik 7 on the way. Islam to all the Moors, peace and love to all the Moors worldwide. You know, we had to do the payback class for Tuesday. So you knew it was going to happen sometime this week. So we want to, first of all, you know, always give honors to Allah for sending us a prophet so we could know what's up. And the more we get on the frequency, the more we build, the more we realize that, you know, it's pretty much been on. Got some stuff to deal with today. People out here talking crazy. But before we do that, let's just get on the record. Who's here? Islam Morris.
Islam more. Islam.
Jeez.
Islam more.
If somebody has their background thing on, or if you're on speaker, I think I'm hearing the echo. So we had.
Hearing it?
No, it's good. So we oh yeah, before we do that, on the line we have Moors that study. Well, it's always good to be a Grand Sheik and know that there's Moors out there who actually study. They're not on some sign my religious papers Grand Sheik. They're on some look at this info that we found, or this book that I found, or whatever. So we just want to put the question out for the Moors on the line. Again, just put your appellation on the record. How do you get into Moorish science, and what convinced you that this is where it's at?
Islam Grand Sheik. I am Brother Navi Day. And to get into Moorish science, once you become aware, you know that you always was on the path. You just didn't know it, because everything is Moorish science. And just like the prophet stated that once they get enough pain, they have to claim a nationality. That was just a situation to where I was in enough pain to where something had to change. And I got tired of depending on others to do what I knew that I could do for myself. Not only I could do for myself, but in order for anything to come about, I would have to do it for myself, mainly being my proper person. And situation I was going through, I was just reading, and I myself stumbled across a video, you know, and the way the brother presented himself, immediately I said, I can do that. And it wasn't that I could do that as far as be him. I could know the rights that he says he has. Because one, he looks like me. And two, what he was saying made perfect sense to me. So I say that to say the energy that I receive now, as opposed to when I thought a certain way, for me, it's totally different. When I say it's totally different is I'm not afraid, one, and two, the people, quote unquote, who they've been supposed to be our enemy, I get smiles from these people. Like just today, more like 5 minutes ago, I was in the grocery store. Like smiles for no reason, more. Go on.
Islam, go ahead, more.
Islam. This is Inyan Bay from the Minnesota territory. How I came on science. First, I got to tell you about the type of young man I was. I was somebody who would get engrossed in all kinds of trivial matters, a lot of trivial information. When I would have conversations with my friends, they're like, man, you're an encyclopedia, you know so much. And then what happened, I was listening to a local AM station, and they were talking about different cultures. And I had no clue as to what they were talking about in this program. And that made me look at myself a little differently. And it reminded me about something that Dr. John Henry Clark said. When he was a young man, he would read these almanacs, and they would parade him around and wage bets on him that he could answer these questions. And then over time, Dr. Henry Clark said he realized that he had wasted a lot of time filling his head with useless information. Well, that really hit home with me because that sounded just like me. All of these things that I knew, all of these things that I would start off in conversations with my friends and everybody, it was useless information that was of no value. And so after I realized that, okay, what's my next move? Now that I know that I have a head full of useless information, what am I going to do about it? And so I began to read books like books of Carter G. Woodson, Sheikh Ahmed Diab, Ivan Van Sertima. Now, we're talking over 30 years ago. The books that the younger generation is talking about today by J.A. Rogers and all of these things. And even as I read these books and made myself aware of this history, I still didn't see myself in it. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, wow, okay, this is great. But they're talking about people that are no longer around. This is how detached I was. I didn't make the connection or the correlation personally with myself. And as time goes on, I come across video. My first video that a Moor made was by a brother named Zacchaeus L. And it was a video with him standing off with these high policy enforcers. And it blew my mind like, wow, who's this guy? How is he talking to these people like this? And his tone is different. He's using words. He's speaking law. I'm like, wow, I've never heard somebody talk to people like this. You know, and nobody's making a move on him. Nobody's really challenging him. They're not happy about what he's saying, but they're not able to do or contradict what he's saying. And that really blew my mind. And so as I'm looking into Brother Santea's L, it led me to other things. And I started reading up on Moors. And when I finally made the correlation, these people that I had been reading about all these years ago are my ancestors. There's a connection here. Slowly but surely, things began to make more sense with a whole different complexion on this information as I began to connect myself to it. Then here comes the Constitution. Well, I've always known that the Constitution was around, but I never saw myself in it in any way, shape, or form. Because I've always had this color racist perception in my mind. Like, that's not for me. I'm not even going to bother myself. Boy, was I wrong. In reading about Prophet Noble Drali, reading the Circle 7 Quran, getting the clarity in my mind about who we are, what we are, where we are, that shed a whole different light on me. And so all this while, for the greater part of my adult life, I had primed myself. I had been living beneath my privilege in so many ways, calling myself something that I wasn't, identifying with things that had nothing to do with me, that wasn't of my culture. I didn't even know my culture. I didn't even know self. And so I was just a man, tense, high-strung, spinning my wheels with no direction of any kind, no matter how many books I read, because I had no sense of direction until I came upon more science and began to take it to the next level, starting with the Circle 7 Quran, because I wanted to see what it was about. And as I read the Circle 7 Quran, where it talks about purity and love, that checked me pretty hard. That checked me pretty hard because I'm reading this Quran with a sincere intent, looking for a direction, looking for change. And I always like to think of myself as a friendly, approachable person, a person who's capable of loving, so I thought. Until it made me examine my heart. Is your heart pure? Can it hold love? Can it sustain love? Is your heart as pure as you thought? And when you read with a purpose, it takes you to task on an intellectual and spiritual level. And it's not something that I took for granted. And it made me examine myself in ways I've never examined myself before. Now comes the application of the other things after I've gotten clarity. That's when things began to take shape. And it's still in the process of taking shape. It will always be in the process of taking shape. I will always evolve as I continue to study and research. There is no end. There is no contentment. Because there's always a higher level to aspire to. And these are concepts I've never had before I got involved with more science. And I give thanks. Or do I give thanks? High honors to the universal prophet, Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali, peace be upon him, for the magnitude, for me recognizing the value and the magnitude of what he brought back to us. I could still be somewhere out to lunch, calling myself and others out of our names. But because of more science, it has given me a new outlook on so many things, on so many levels. especially with what I read and study. Knowing who is and what is what helps me put things in a whole different perspective. Reading the Constitution, being clear on what nationality means, being clear on what to declare means. The simple, basic concepts are a gateway to a bigger realm of understanding. And I reiterate, I give thanks for all of you active faithful Morris, Grand Sheik Cujo, Brother Navi, the bill we had earlier today. I give thanks because this is still, the novelty will never wear off. And with that, Islam, I'm going to yield the floor on that for now.
There's a lot more. One more thing to throw in as a question too. You brought in the impact that, you know, what Noble Drew Ali presented had. If both of you could speak on that, what is it? You know, we all have our leaders that we came up under or that we studied from or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
What was different about Noble Drew Ali as far as the message compared to anything else that we might have came up studying?
Well, what was monumental for me was, instead of looking all over the world, trying to find some sort of connection, some kind of cultural identity, what Noble Drew Ali did was make us aware of what we had right here, right up under our noses all along, bringing us back the knowledge of ourselves, reacquainting us with our ancient foremothers and forefathers. The whole thing about us not being Negro, Black, and colored. And the thing about being Negro, Black, colored, it was one thing to read it from Noble Drew Ali, but to go into dictionaries and see it verified and qualified. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. How did I get this far in life and not realize that I had been calling myself something that I clearly could never be? On top of that, it's an adjective. On top of that, it's only 500, 600 years old. And so now this whole thing, this whole Indian thing, this whole African American thing, all of these connotative presentments, getting reacquainted to our heritage and bloodline right here, it began to turn all of these misrepresentations and the misinformation that I had been given my whole life, it began to turn it on its head. The thing that I'm very grateful for is that it wasn't a stretch for me to come around. I didn't have to beat my head on a rock trying to convince myself that I wasn't an adjective. And along with that comes where the Prophet encouraged us to get back into the constitutional fold of government. That was new, because I never thought it had anything to do with me. And so now I'm like, wait, he's talking about constitutional fold of government. And so over time, I began to read the Constitution. I'm like, okay, well, where's this going to take me? But I had to study more. I had to get dictionaries up. I had to break this language down because I had never submersed myself in it before. And after getting clear on all of that, after making correlations to this land, to my ancestors, not across the water, right here, and the fact that, okay, if we're not Indians, we're not Negroes, if we're not coloreds, if we're not African American, what are we? We're Moors. So then we look up Moors, and I get the definition of that. I'm like, wait a minute, okay, there's a distinct difference, just like with the college videos. But I did this personally, getting into more science. It was no stretch for me to differentiate between adjectives and nouns once I gave it my due attention and focus. I had never done that before. Noble Drew Ali showed me something new through his introduction Come on, ye Asiatics, and learn the truth about your nationality and birthright. And I answered the call. Fortunately, I was smart enough and wise enough to see it for what it was. Because anybody could talk about Moorish legacy and dynasties till the cows come home. But if I'm not looking for it, I'm still going to discard it. I'm still going to reject it. I'm still going to walk away from it. I thank Allah that I was truly, sincerely looking for an answer. And lo and behold, this is what I have. This is where it led me. You know? And I hope that at least answered that question to some degree.
Well, Islam for sure, more. Brother Navi, you have something to add?
Islam, what? I first came across Navi Ali. My question to myself before I read in his literature was, why hadn't I ever heard this man? And once I began to read his literature, and it led me to the prophets in Havana, Cuba. And once you read what's presented there, it was absolutely clear to me that, because I was drawn to the man because I found out, first of all, what he told us when he said, don't put down where I'm born at because, you know, people make a shrine of it or whatever. I was one of those people because I felt like, oh, Prophet Nabi Ali was born in North Carolina. I'm from North Carolina. You know, just, I'm supposed to find it and things of that nature. So when, getting back to the Havana Cuba conference, when I read the literature and it verbatim said what he gave, and the only thing I had to do was simple: proclaim. I didn't have to join anything. I didn't have to do any of that. Be clear on who I am and proclaim it to the world. And it's all the other leaders that we have. I don't know of any of them that put it as simple as Nabi Ali had put it, and took it where Nabi Ali had put it. So, in reading the literature, all I have to do is proclaim. All I have to do is to be. And all I can be is what I know. I know for a fact that I'm not Negro, black, and colored. So in knowing that part and being clear on that, I'm not going to conduct myself in a manner that would associate myself with those things. I got that from Nabi Ali. That in itself gave me peace, but I'm not trying to be anything else. I'm not worried about anything else. All I'm doing is focusing on me. And that alone, brother, the peace, the mindset, to eliminate the worries, was enough for me. Alone.
Peace, Morris. Now, I was watching something earlier, and there were these sisters, and somebody asked the sisters, are they black? And the sister said, nah, we're not black, we're Moorish American. But these sisters had fake hair, fake eyelashes, makeup on, whatever else that fits the status quo of one of these people out here who don't have knowledge or whatever. Now, the more who was doing whatever they were doing, playing this thing, he made the statement that they're not Moorish American because of how they were presenting themselves, because quote unquote Moorish Americans wouldn't present themselves like that. So one, to address just that idea of using how someone looks to say that they can't be Moorish American, and two, and also that perspective coming from a Moor who claims they're a Grand Sheikh or a divine minister or part of a Moor Science Temple or whatever. And then two, are Moors Moorish Americans? And when you say we're Moors, do you mean also Moorish Americans, or is this one idea? Anybody could start, and both of you could answer those questions.
Well, no matter what part of the nation people are from, no matter how conscious or unconscious they are, from the least of us to the greatest of us, everybody has a right to a nationality. Everybody has a right to a name and nationality. Whether we agree with how these people personally conduct their lives, that is neither here nor there. They have a right to a nationality. And your blood and descent nature does not come out of the temple. It comes from mother. The reason I'm a Moor is because of mother. What I aspire to is a personal quest of mine, but I still have a right to a name and nationality. Whether I'm a noted person, whether I'm some sort of artist or famous individual, or somebody who's deemed a drag of society.
Hold on one second.
Everybody, in their own right, in their own capacity, are still equal.
Peace.
And I don't know what was the question. Peace.
Sorry, Moore. I just had to get the other line. Brother Yusuf just joined us.
Islam, Moore. Islam, brother. Islam, Moore. Islam, Grand Sheikh.
Islam, Moore. So yeah, the other part of the question was, are Moorish Americans and Moors the same? And this idea of the individual saying that you can't be a Moorish American unless you go to the temple. Like how real is that statement, or fake, or whatever?
Well, again, it's like I said earlier, it's being a Moor. It's in your bloodline and descent nature. That doesn't change. And you have that from birth, no matter how conscious or unconscious you are, or how conscious or unconscious mother is. You're still a Moor because of the bloodline she passed to you. And it's really not that complex of an issue. It's nothing. It's really nothing that's really debatable. Understanding your bloodline and descent nature and where you get it from.
Now, one of the things that one of the angles that I want to keep in the forefront when we're talking about this conversation is the idea of people not being in the temple, not being Moors, but specifically saying Moorish American. Like when we talk, we know what we talk. When we say Moors, we know what we mean. But If there are people out there telling people they can't be Moorish American, specifically that, unless they go through the temple.
Well, the same way people study so many other things, the way they give their attention to so many other things that are of supremely less importance than this issue that we're talking about. It's a simple matter as taking it upon yourself to understand what Moorish means. Well, the reason why I'm Moorish American is because I'm simply a descendant of Moroccans of northwestern Mexico. I'm their descendant, so I am Moorish. I am their direct descendant. I am not my ancestors. I am a descendant of theirs. Thus, I am Moorish. I can never be as great as the ancestors that came before me. You know, at least.
Islam, if anybody else wants to add on, feel free to jump in.
Oh, Islam, I would just add it. Was there a temple in 1791?
Mm-hmm.
Was there a Moorish Science Temple of America? And the answer would be that there was one. But there's verifiable documentation that there were Moors here in America during that time frame.
No. Were there Moorish Americans in that time frame? And you know, again, that the perspective that those people are going to come with is that, well, yes, of course there were Moors, but there weren't Moorish Americans. Noble Ali brought that when he came.
Islam. Can I interject?
Islam, more. Go ahead, more.
Now, I think before we answer the question, I think we need to qualify what words mean, because as the master teacher Abdullah teaches us that the words Moorish American is, when we say that, it's being redundant, just because of the fact the words themselves phonetically, America is Morocco. So what we're saying is we're more and more if we're dealing with words. Like, that's why I say, how are we saying this? How? Because that's why I say these people are tricky when they're saying what they're saying. Like, I listen to them very well, and I'm like, okay, what's this Moorish American? It's the same thing. Both of the words mean the same thing. It's more and more. Phonetically, America's American, Al-Moroccan, all the same. It's the same thing. Phonetically, then you have the vowel shift changes, and they just add words and add letters to words. Phonetically, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. So, like, are we being redundant when we saying that? According to the master teacher Abdullah, we are. Before we even say what makes you Moorish American, like, what does those words mean? Where do they come from? Where does America come from? Because when you break it down, it means Morocco. So, like, what do you mean you're Moorish American? It's like once you start studying, you know it's the same thing. So I don't know, like, how are they saying that? Like, they doing it to cause confusion? That's all it is. That's basically what it is. Because I always looked at it like that too. And I don't want to get his appellation incorrect, but I think it was Brother Mario Bay. He has a perfect breakdown on his page on how America is phonetically Morocco. Brilliantly breaking down. Like, all you gotta do is go on his page and check it out.
if you want to see how it's broken down, America is Morocco. It's not, I know what they're doing, you know, but again, like the Grand Sheik say, we use them as beating sticks just to study more, you know. Islam, I yield the floor. Just on that part, because then we can go in on how to, what makes you, that's another part. How are you a Moor? What makes you do that? Going to the temple makes you a Moor. That's a whole nother question.
No, yeah, we're there. We want to bring that one up too. So speak on it. Speak on that one. Like being a Moor means you have to have gone to the Moor Science Temple.
Okay. Now, like the brother said earlier, and like we were getting to, there were Moors here, like, and that's why you have to qualify the word first, because they try to say more. We're not saying there wasn't Moors here, but they weren't Moorish American. Well, we already broke that down. It was just Moor. The word is Moorish American, okay. But now, does going to a building make you a Moor? That's okay. I love the Prophet. You know, I was telling the Grand Sheik, the Prophet, he reminded us of who we were. Without the Prophet, we wouldn't know anything about being a Moor again. But the Prophet started the temple in 1913. Moor's been here since time of memorial. Is he basing our history off of 1913 just because of a building? Like, because now how do you do that? We're not an ancient people. That won't make us an ancient people. And that's backwards. Like, if you look at other nations, like Chinese people, that would just be quality. That's like saying, I'm not Chinese because I don't have a nail salon. Like, qualifying that. Like, if you don't have a nail salon, you're not Chinese. Like, if you don't go to the Moorish Science Temple, you're not Moorish American. What are you talking about? Like, that's a building. You talking about membership, and we talking about birthright, nationality, consanguinity over here. They talking about hours opening, closing, going to a building. And then when you go home, I guess you back to being, you know, fraudulent United States citizen, 14th Amendment citizen, black. Because it just seems like only when you go to the temple you are more. Okay, that's what they're making it seem like.
Now let me ask everybody this question. Okay, so if we go with the perspective that we were taught by Brother Abdul, make sure we look up stuff. So we look up Moorish American, we find out that, oh, regardless of what you're saying more, right? Now, would you say that, because it's only Moorish Science Temple of America people that speak like this, right? So would you say that Noble Drew Ali set that up like that to sort of trap those people who don't study and don't really know what is what? Because I'm just looking at it from the perspective of me and Brother Yusuf were talking about, in their eyes, Moorish American is a member of that temple, not a national.
But isn't Moorish American our national name? Moorish been our descent name, and Moorish American is national name. Am I correct?
Yes, but what they're doing, for example, is like federal government and Federal Express. Like, they took the de jure and incorporated it and running with it and saying this is what it is. That's what it's called to be member, not a national. They took it like They know it's national principles. They know it has to do with nationality and everything. But they're looking at it like it's not that. It's membership. That's why they don't teach nationality.
Like, for example, one of the Moors said in the chat that Elder Temple Moors really said out of their mouth that you're not a Moor until a Grand Sheikh says you're a Moor.
That's crazy.
But doesn't that go against Moors being born, not made?
That too. Anybody else have any input on that? If not, we'll get to these little videos right here.
Just like the Chinese chef saying, "You're not Chinese because you don't know how to make pork fried rice." Like, come on, man. You gotta wait for the chef to tell you. Now you're Chinese. They be saying the craziest stuff. The chef didn't tell you. No, you're not Chinese. You still yellow, man.
Would somebody what was I just thinking about? Like somebody speaking like that, you know, that idea of I'm gonna make you whatever, and if I didn't make you whatever, then you're not that. Would you look at that as a form of or a direct relation to denationalization? If everybody could speak on just the concept of somebody that looks like you taking your nationality from you.
Oh, to even begin to say something like that to anyone, what is the motive? Is the ulterior motive for them saying that? Are they trying to gain membership? Are they losing membership? If they're losing membership, why are they losing membership? Are they not upholding the program designed for the activity of the members? What are they doing? Why are they losing these members? You know, if somebody comes to the temple and get their nationality and they leave, why did they leave? What did you do to facilitate the leaving? What did you not give them in addition to getting them clear on their nationality? And so to put the responsibility and the blame on the people for something that they're not doing or upholding or being active in the manner in which the prophet instructed, then it is on that administrative function, not the members or the people. And so it seems to me that like a lot of these people are shifting their burden of responsibility on the very people they're supposed to be helping uplift.
Islam, the very fact that we breathe, that another man, what type of he breathe for you. So the very fact that you breathe on your own, that entails and gives you certain things. Mm-hmm. So your very being makes you who you are, not another man putting a stamp on something.
That's right.
You have anything to add in, Brother Yusuf?
No, I think the brother just perfectly said that. You have the floor.
Islam. So this first one is Will Kapru, hidden information exposing the Moors from the God realm, spirit realm.
Yeah, that's what I want.
So you can just let me know. You just let me know when to yield it, when to pause or whatever, and you know.
Okay, is not to right now. Okay, I'm not here to worry about your feelings.
Sound check, sound check. There he is. Sound back now? Still no audio? Still? Nothing? No sound. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Somebody fighting.
Oh, so yeah, oh, I think they could hear me now. All right. Can you hear me? All right, so we're back up. All right. I don't know what that was, but
Yeah.
I don't know what that was.
Yeah, but following up, I don't know where they lost. I don't know why I lost the audio. I don't know what the boys in the chat heard me say last.
No,
But
you can just go in again. Hold on. Yeah. All right.
Wow.
All right. Yeah, we're talking about the followers thing. So you can go over that.
Yeah, well, I don't know why I lost them, man.
Or you
but,
could
briefly,
just briefly recap.
Yeah, just a brief recap. If Noble Drawley, peace be upon him, if he was looking for followers, it's really simple. He would not encourage you to think for yourself and to free yourself if he indeed was looking for followers.
All right.
You know. So, yeah,
So I think
I'll give the floor for somebody else, but it's real simple.
Yeah. All right, we'll go back to this thing.
Or you become a Moor, or you become whatever. All right. The job is to not follow anything. Okay. If you're waking up from being a follower, why would you want to continue to be a follower? Okay. I just want y'all to understand this, because this is how we're gonna start.
It's not.
All right.
There's a lot more.
Because I see in this so-called conscious community, we tend to follow others.
Go ahead, more.
Now, again, I know what they're saying and what they mean when they say the word follower and follows. Well, you know, us Moors, we love dealing with words. Now, let's see what the dictionary says, what the word follow and follower mean. Before we even go in on, are we followers or are we following Noble Drawley? Let's see what the definition is. We have here Oxford Dictionary, English Etymology Dictionary. The word follow. It says, hold on, wait a minute, 1 second. It's a verb. Okay, here we go. It's a verb. Follow, verb. Go to go or come after. To walk in the footsteps of, to copy, to imitate. Old English. It says accompany, to help, to lead, to follow, to pursue. And that's what the etymology is in the Oxford Dictionary etymology. But then I have the Oxford Dictionary and Thesaurus American Edition. The word follow is again, to go or come after. Nope, hold on. Let's switch up dictionaries. The Oxford's the same. Let's see what Webster's Dictionary, Thesaurus, and Medical Dictionary says. The word follow. Verb transitive, to go after, to move behind, to adhere to practice, to comprehend, to watch carefully, to keep in touch with, to come after, to pursue, to occur as a consequence. The act of following, one who comes after. So, like, when he says follow, like, are we imitating the prophet? Are we adhering to what he taught us to do, the 5 principles? Like, when they say follow, they're making it like it's connotative. And now you're looking at it denotative. Like, there's nothing wrong with following the 5 principles because that's what we're supposed to do. that's what we're supposed to do. When the prophet said, imitate your prophet, be clean. That's what the prophet, he said that. It's nothing wrong. What was wrong with trying to be like what he was doing? Uplift fallen humanity.
And if I could humbly interject more, Webster's Unabridged Dictionary for the word emotion, which is a noun from the Latin emovere, and that's spelled E-M-O-V-E-R-E, to move out. So when he's saying that he's not going to deal with our emotions, what caused the brother right next to him to let out the scream? Right?
That's a good question, man.
That was a real good question.
Also, in addition to that,
there's a lot more. Go ahead.
He's speaking about followers. And not too long after he says this, someone, I believe in his chat, questions him about something. Somebody who's thinking and asking a question. And he says, you're going to the block party. But he just said moments prior, before he blocks this person, that we don't want followers. In the moment he's questioned about anything that is diametrically opposed to what he's representing or presenting to the people, this person says, he's threatening this person, you're going to the block party. But he doesn't want followers. That was very interesting to me.
And you don't care about your feelings.
To continue more, the etymology of emotion, when you go to the concise dictionary of the English etymology, it specifically says to move, right? So the brother, what made the brother let out the scream? He didn't touch him. He didn't do anything. He spoke words, right? So he was speaking to what? His movement, his emotion. The very thing that he said in his open that he wasn't here to do.
That is a killer right there.
It's like, yeah, it is, huh? Trust me.
He did a lot of damage.
Yep. And then it's real interesting to be, against having followers, but they both got the same chain on.
That's just basic.
Lower self.
Man.
We'll carry on, boys. Hold on.
Okay, and that's what got us all fucked up. That's how we start choosing sides. Okay, all right. You got Team Umar Johnson. You got Team Young Pharaoh, Team Seti, Team myself, my bro. Team this, Team that. Okay, all right. The object is to not follow. Okay, that's the whole science on this shit. To wake up is to get out. Right. Okay. Right. All right. I need y'all to understand this because what we're gonna bring today what we dealing with, fuck your feelings, man. I'm letting you know. Okay? All right? We're not in the business of changing your fucking diaper. Okay? You ain't gonna get no milk over here. Okay? You have to go to Walmart for that. All right? So, with that being said, we're gonna dive in. So, this is the thing, family. First and foremost, when we say information comes from within, all right, what we're talking about here is first time meditation that allows you to go as you please, okay, especially when you know, you have this.
Oh, just to ask this question, with regard to certain practices, for example, they brought up meditation. If we look at any type of religious whatever, it might be prayers or whatever. Do you think nationality has a part to play in you connecting with, whether you call it God or the higher power or the God within or whatever? Is there a relation between nationality and being able to tap into the spirit realm or speak to the ancestors or whatever?
I would say it's one more. If you didn't have a nationality, what are you practicing? Because my understanding, your nationality, that's part of where you get your culture, your religion from. So if you're saying if your very existence, how can you come in contact with what you're seeking if you're not being what you're seeking, if you're not speaking that same language? Islam?
And to go along with that, what are you answering to, and who are you calling? What is it that you're invoking? In the book of Thomas in the Apocrypha, it goes into detail about the science of prayer. And what it says in the book of Thomas, it says that you are to get to your quiet place and couple your heartfelt emotions with your intentions. So when you understand the dynamic of what they're talking about in the book of Thomas, no wonder they took it out of the Biblio-Heliotext. Because all you have to do is focus, couple your heartfelt emotions with your intentions. But still, as simplistic as that sounds, you still have to have some kind of cognition about self. You know, what are you answering to? What are you calling yourself? Who are you calling upon? What name are you calling or invoking? And what I need to say by that to Moors in the chat, if you know that Allah, the name of the universal almighty creator, is Allah, and you're calling something other than that, what kind of response are you expecting to get? If somebody calls you out of your name, are you going to answer to it? What are you channeling? What are you calling upon? What are you invoking? even with meditation, you still have to be clear. You still have to be clear on some level of who you truly are in order for any of these elements to come to fruition.
Just to ask a question for people who might be thinking this. So meditation obviously opens you up more. So you're saying that there might be possibilities that if you're not really grounded in who you are, there could be consequences for opening yourself up like that without really knowing what or who.
Well, Grand Sheik, if there's this buzz going around about manifesting things. I'm going to manifest finance. I'm going to manifest a new car and all of that. Well, the only problem with that is that people are trying to manifest these things that are predicated on illusionary constructs. What are you channeling? Are you clear about what you want to manifest? Do you even know what manifesting means? And so it's like a brother had posted a clip some time ago, and it was taken from The Matrix, where he says, I know this steak isn't real, but when I put it into my mouth, the Matrix tells me that it's juicy and delicious. But he goes on to say, I don't want to remember anything, and I want to be somebody important, like an actor. So he's willingly submitting himself to something that is not even real. And he's making this deal to enter into this illusionary construct and putting the lives of real people in danger.
But that's a movie though.
No. But what I'm saying is, if you're going to focus your intentions and your concepts on something, what are these concepts that you're invoking or manifest? What are they predicated on? You know, if a person is not grounded personally in their own mind, how are you trying to manifest these things, trying to bring these things into being, and you're not even sure about who you are? What kind of response can you hope to get? What kind of response can you hope the universe to return to you?
Islam, Mark, can I interject, please?
Islam, how are you?
The Law of the Higher Potential. That's the title of the book. In chemistry, there are certain substances.
Sorry, put the book out again.
It's called The Law of the Higher Potential. Written in 1947 by Robert Collier. Robert Collier. Page 156. In chemistry, there are certain substances which, when added to others, release many thousands of times as much power as they do themselves contain. These catalysts, without losing any of their own energy, multiply the energy and other substances by thousands and sometimes even by millions. If two or more of you get together for a minute or two each day and really agree as touching the things you shall ask and the way you shall ask for it, you will get amazing results. You must unite in thought. Meaning, the whole game is about thought. Right? So whether they're thinking rightly or normally, they're going to manifest that thought. And the game is not to get you on the right path. Because ignorance to the law is no excuse. Well,
Islam. Islam. You got anything, Yusuf?
Islam. To add on to both of the brothers and what the Grand Sheik is saying about nationality and meditation and all that being connected. I have a book here. It's called How to Uncover Your Past Lives by Ted Andrews. And about it, he has different forms of meditation and different forms of activities you can do to uncover your past lives. And one of them, he has a thorough breakdown of the hypnosis. We all know, a little research, more is dealt with hypnosis. But when he, like the brother was saying earlier, how in the Matrix, the brother eating the steak and making his own, basically, with his mind, making his own reality. It says here, right? There was an old occult axiom which states, quote, all energies follow thought. Where we put our thoughts, that is where our energy goes. We must keep in mind that the subconscious reacts and responds in a very literal manner to our thoughts and words, right? And he has a breakdown of with the nationality and with the hypnosis, because he even, like, you can't uncover your past lives unless you know where you came from. So what they have done, I guess it's a school. It's abbreviated as AMA. There was a school of, I guess, consciousness that's called AMA. What they have done is they have an activity where, and it works. They took copper hanger wires and they put cardboard around it, and they place it around themselves, around their hips, and they train it to where they can tell it, actually subconsciously, questions, yes or no questions, and to let them know, you know, where they're at or whatever. Any yes or no questions they can ask it. It would bend left or right. Yes, right, left, no. And they was doing it. So what they also would do, what they call them dowsing instruments, right? So what they would do with the dowsing instruments, they would have to go get a map. And with the dowsing that they created, they would use the map to discover where they came from. Because in order to figure out their past lives, they have to know who they were. And in order to know who you were, you got to know your nationality. You got to know where you came from. You got to know your bloodline. So they're literally, for meditation and to discover your past lives, are using nationality, because they're using maps with energy, you know, so that it does all tie into one, like the Grand Sheik was saying. I yield the floor.
Islam. And
real quick, Grand Sheik,
yeah,
brother mentioned hypnosis, and I want to throw another book out there real quick. It's called Master Secrets of Hypnosis and Self-Hypnosis by Professor Kurt Tepperwin. And the last name is spelled Tepperwein. Again, it's Master Secrets of Hypnosis.
Brother Yusuf, could you put out your book again, the name and author? Let me on mute. There's a lot more. Yeah, that was me on mute. That was me on mute. Brother Yusuf, if you could put out your book again.
Rediscovering Your Past Lives by Ted Andrews. Oh, forgive me. It's called How to Uncover Your Past Lives by Ted Andrews.
All right, so this is why it's important when you go on these online stuff and talk about you're going to go learn something, that you learn from people who can give you a reference point. Now, this is why we deal with Moors, because this is what Moors are about. This is what Moors are about. This is what being Moorish American, whatever it's about. Getting information, acquiring knowledge. And once you acquire the knowledge, share the knowledge. You know, harboring the knowledge so that nobody else could get it. And the only way they can get it is if you give them a view. But then, like in this case, you're not even getting anything. Right? No passes. Either you're on nationality and birthrights or you're playing games with people out here. Just that simple. And you, the sheep and the whoever else that are not on this info and don't know what to do and all that stuff, use this as a reference point to show you that we're still Moors, we're still here. All these Moors who are talking BS about Moors, want to debate Moors and all that stuff. Where are they at right now? Forget these new people. You guys talking about they want to do something. They want to battle something. Where's the guys who were talking BS about Moors 8 years ago? Where'd they go? Disappeared, didn't they? And we're still here as Moors. These people took off, gone to Asia. Now you're talking about you're not Moors still? Moors ran these people out of town. Packed up their stuff, stopped doing lectures because of Moors. Moors are still here. Still putting in the work. Still. After all these people came. You know what I mean? And we could leave the so-called master teachers out of it because all of us are grown men and women now. So what's up? We're not supposed to be learning like that still. We're supposed to be at it by now. We're still going to lectures instead of putting them on. You're still going to sit down and watch a guy talk, tell you some BS. You got how much books you got piled up of notes? You never made a book yet? Never put out a video, never did anything worth people knowing? But, you know, if it's to talk some BS to get some views and have people's condition never change, that's perfect. That's perfect for these people.
Certain work spiritually. Have cleansed yourself in the realm, your ancestors, the gods and goddesses, you know, opening more doors for you to travel, places to go. Okay, all right. So when we're talking about you go in for your information, first style meditation, using your imagination, allows you to go as you please. Okay. On Back to the Future, they would set a date.
Anybody remember
5,000 years ago?
Anybody remember the timestamp where they were talking their BS?
The what? The what?
The time where because there was some stuff that they were saying about Moors in here. That I can't remember where it was on the thing. But this, like, again, is somebody who okay, what part does status play in teaching our people information about who we are or realms of whatever? Like we're saying, you know, like, you know, nationality was the broad perspective, but now as the individual having this nationality now, like the idea of presenting yourself, who you are, based on your status, versus people who haven't even put their status on the record, but trying to prove to you that there's something. Like, how important is status? And then if you have any examples of where status was applied. And everybody could jump in on that.
I mean, we can start off just by just real simple on the basic level. When I go to the store and I deal with our brothers from the East, when I walk in, and I have on my national headdress, my fez, and it's, oh, Brother Yusuf. I remember we seen before, the brothers from the East, I walk into the store, I get free tea. I remember one time I did a commercial for them, literally had a script and everything because of my headdress. And underneath it says Brother Yusuf from Morocco the whole time for the commercial. And this is my brothers from the East. But when our sleepy people walk in, they watching the cameras, they looking in the sky. I'm watching them do it. They do it in front of me like I'm, part of them. They're just watching my people on the screen, just watching them. And then I'm like, wow, they don't do no high use of none of that when our people come in, because and I tell them they shouldn't do that, and they tell me, well, your people should be like you. And I already know what they're saying. Like, basically, in so many words, they shouldn't be stateless. They shouldn't be stateless. And that's just right there with the status right there. Other nationals deal with nationals. They don't like dealing with statelessness. I yield the floor on that for
Islam, brother. If I can add on to what the brother just related, me personally, driving these commercial vehicles out here, I often find myself in positions where I'm passing through some sort of a checkpoint or checking into a facility, and specifically in South Texas, where they have, when you're deep in Texas, you have to go through what are called border checks. And these are armed agents, a lot of dogs, a lot of personnel, a lot of weapons. And when you're driving a commercial vehicle, vast majority of the time, you're definitely going to be checked and asked for ID. You may or may not be pulled to the side. And when I had was just still new to this knowledge, I'm driving down to South Texas. I had my fez on. And so there are a lot of trucks ahead of me. Some trucks they're being checked by dogs. They're being pulled over to the side. Their goods are being taken out and searched and what have you. And I pull up, and the agent says, "Are you a U.S. citizen?" I said, "No, I am not." He said, "Where are you from?" I said, "I'm a Moorish American national, and I domicile in the Minnesota Territory." And he gets off of my steps, and he says, "Go through." The reason why that was one of many situations after that where the same thing happened. Now, that may be inconsequential to you, but in a commercial vehicle, they always want to see your bills. They always want to see your CDL. They may tell you, even if there's nothing wrong with you, they'll just tell you to pull over so they can walk the dog around. But after being clear, each and every time that I've been asked by my U.S. citizen, and I respond, it's the same way, never change one iota. Okay, go through. Now, I'm one truck among many that have to stop and show paperwork and all of these things. I had a nationality in my pocket. I had the CDL in my pocket. But when I responded to this agent of this corporation, I'm so very sure and confident about what I'm saying to him. Okay, go through. He didn't ask to see anything. He didn't ask to see a nationality card. He could very well have. He could have very well ordered me to open my door and check my cargo. But he did not. Other times, when I'm going to places, I'll check into these warehouses with a lot of security, Walmart warehouses, cold storages. A lot of times they want you to show a license. And I will say, just for the sake, it started out as curiosity at first. Then it evolved into something else because I said, I have ID. License is not ID.
Excuse me, brother. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I got to ask you one question, two questions, two quick questions, please.
Please do.
Did they ask? Did you tell them you was Hebrew Israelite, or did you tell them you were black?
I did not. No.
Did you tell them? Another one. Did you tell them you was Pan-African?
No, absolutely not. I said I was a Moorish American national.
Okay, I yield the floor. Islam.
I was very clear. I am not a U.S. citizen. I'm a Moorish American national. And okay, go through. Now, checking into a lot of these heavily secured warehouses and facilities. Well, if you don't have a license, what do you have? I have ID. And okay, well, let's see it. And I show it to him. Okay, that's fine. Park over there. No problems. And I'm never making a show. I'm never yelling and just going into all kinds of unnecessary emotions. I'm speaking to them the way I'm speaking to you all now. And I'm very well prepared to stand on who I say I am. And when you're able to stand on who you say you are and not back down off of it, it's not about them liking you. It's not about them being friendly to you, but it's about them respecting you. You cannot respect a person if they don't first respect themselves. And so I'm very firm about my national status. Sometimes it is received, sometimes it is not. Nevertheless, I'm not backing down off it by any means. And I'm going to yield the floor on that.
Islam, more.
Islam. Navi, you go.
Well, just real quick, that being the standard, state, or condition. And status being the first issue at law. And how I know that status is important is, real quick, is a brief situation to where the quote-unquote district attorney here, and dealing with being sued for, not me, my mother, for a seatbelt violation. And me and my mother, we didn't go to the court, per se. We went into the guy's office. And how it's so crazy that the more said he's talking to.
Wait, you did what more? You went to his office?
I went to his office, like his place of business, because I wasn't going to the date.
More is dangerous, man. More is dangerous.
Ooh, we're in a place where everybody knows everybody. Put it that way. Mm-hmm. So how can a person go to school with you, per se? You go get a education, and based on your education, you think you can tell me what to do. So we went to his office, something was said, and this is the reason why I used this the brother the last time I spoke with him when I brought up the Grimaldi. When I brought up the Grimaldi to this man, the look on his face, like I see it now, it was priceless. It was like he saw a ghost. He swallowed real hard, and this Albion told me, this is quote unquote the DA now, said to me out his mouth, if you go back far enough, we're all the same people.
Wow.
I didn't force him to say that. But I say that to say, when we went to his office, we didn't go there to argue.
Right.
We went there to put our position there, to his face, to notify him. And in doing that, he revealed to us that what I just said, and we got to talking about other things, not even dealing with the law. And the ticket went away.
Islam.
All right, Morris, hold on.
When I say the ticket goes away, that's the so-called paperwork that others who really don't know have to see. You have to show me something. Show me what you did. No, I can't show you. I can only be what I know.
Wow. Islam to that. And so, let me ask you if I may. So, what I think I'm understanding with you is that based on the quality of your character, on the way you carried yourself, that alone, on its strength, was enough to make this situation dissipate.
Indeed.
Wow. Well, there you have it. There you have it. Islam.
Hold on.
You said Islam, more. Did you say you gave him paperwork when you went to his office?
Oh, I didn't give him nothing. Me and her, we sat down.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Okay.
He already knew the citation was he knew why I was coming. No.
Hold on.
All right, if you never heard that before, I got many videos that teach you how to become God. So it's on you from there. So just to understand that they were creating the scene of slavery. Okay, then you have grave sites with nobody in them. Okay, I'm just getting at this now. Yeah. You have grave sites with nobody in them. Okay, where they say, okay, this is where slaves are buried. Nah, it's a lot of lies going on. And guess who are the orchestrator of these lies? The Moors. Right. The Moors are the orchestrator of these lies. These cats who you want to aspire to be. These cats who walk around with the fans and all of this. These cats. The reason why on a human level, Black people going through all this turmoil.
Yeah, so on that, so the Moors in slavery, you know, the Moors are the orchestrators of slavery, and, you know, again, the perspective that, or where they're coming from this negative idea, is there any validity to that? And like, what why do you think people always only bring up the Moors enslaved people? Anybody could go ahead.
Always have that age-old emotional hustle. And it is just not a hustle, because when you, months ago, the circle of readers with the mothers, reading about the white cargo, I believe that was the text they were reading from. You, from beginning of the book to the end of the book, you had nothing but timeline after timeline after timeline about who indeed were these first slaves on these plantations. In addition to that, not to go off on the deep end on that, but if slavery started in 1600 and it's 400 years, then it's not over. If it started in 1619 and you're putting 400 years on that, well, we still got a year left.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason I even bring that up is you're talking about channeling your spirituality, getting into meditation, but still you're dealing with the aspect of death. Graveyard, slavery, statuses. He uses the word nigger a lot. He uses the word black a lot. But but at the same time, you're trying to present whatever it is you're presenting and coupling it to on a metaphysical level. Okay, that's a contradiction there. Because you're telling people they need to step their spiritual game up, they need to step their consciousness up, but at the same time, you turn around and lock them in to connotative presentments centered on a civilly dead status. But you're trying to get them to get their mental awareness and spirituality up. It's a contradiction in terms. You know, but that's what I have to say about that at this point. I yield.
Islam Morris. 100 Amazing Facts About the Negro. The Complete Proof by Jerry Rogers. First slaves held in the United States were not black, but white. They were Europeans, mostly British, who died like flies on the slave ships across. Then we come down to Encyclopedia Britannica in the States, the Spanish colonies, in 1442, when the Portuguese under Prince Henry the Navigator were exploring the Atlantic coast of Africa. One of his officers, Anton Goncalves, who captured some Moors, this is what it says, who captured some Moors, and the M is capitalized, was directed by the prince, carried them back to Africa. He received from the Moors in exchange for them 10 blacks and a quantity of gold dust. But this is stating that you see who the slaves are.
No.
It has nothing to do with us
at all.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
more. Go ahead.
I see you just killed it with that too. Navi, you just killed it with that. But I want to add on real quick because I see them always saying that because they like using it as separation. Because I already know they don't know the history. They didn't go study what happened. They didn't lay the facts out like these two brothers did just now. They just say it so it can be separation. Like, oh, the Moors did this to black people. There's no such thing as black people. It was Moors doing what they doing right now. Moors selling out Moors. Dirty Moors selling out right now. Those are Moors sitting there in that seat. Those are Moors. Yes. Those are Moors saying that, coming out their mouths, selling you out right in your face. Doing the same thing that they was doing back in the day. They're doing it right now again.
But they didn't join the temple. How are they Moors?
Right.
Like so even though they don't say I'm a Moor, they're a Moor?
Absolutely. No matter how unconscious or conscious they are, no matter how productive or negative they are, their bloodline and descent nature is what it is regardless. They can latch on to these known to gears and brands till the cows come home. But woe unto them, because they're the ones who's denying their bloodline and descent nature, because everybody else knows who they are. And when you see two individuals like this, who are consciously facilitating and propagating and promulgating a concerted effort to feel that cultural, historical disconnect from their heritage by promoting these brands and known to gears, what would you call them? You know, they're no different than the clergy. They're no different than these high-power politicians and all of these alphabet society people that are facilitating, marching, praying, promoting civil rights in furtherance of these known to gears, these same brands, these same civilly dead statuses, these same non-descendable statuses. Because their platform is on the internet, because they're using colloquialisms and urban lingo of today's youth to do it, doesn't make them any less a fraud than the other dirty Moors on these other platforms. And the only reason it is not so detectable to the naked eye is because they're speaking the lingo, the lingo of what's the current trend, using those familiar catchphrases, familiar lingo, the familiar swagger.
No, let me ask this question, because that's something that I thought about a little while ago, and it's something that went to the back of my mind. But this idea of knowing who we are, knowing thyself, etc. But on the Moor paradigm, within the Moorish paradigm, do you see people using this as a trend to mislead people? Because you're speaking about the trending, like is putting a fez on or saying that you're, the prophet spoke in your ear and you're going to create whatever to free the people.
Well, I can respond to that. But what I've personally observed, I have seen people sell narcotics wearing back sheets. I have seen people with dreadlocks doing, unsavory things. So no matter what kind of garb you wear, what kind of cosmetic appearance you have, it is just that. They're superficial and cosmetic. If your mind is so far away from what you purport to be about and portray, you have a host of people
that have latched on and have followed behind people that appear to be presenting something of a cultural connection. And nothing could have been further from the truth. But they latched on to the appearance of what somebody appeared to be about, what they appeared to represent. You have prisons full of people who have followed behind these people. Because of a cosmetic appearance. I can wear a fez, I can wear the fanciest fez or turban and talk slick and use certain colloquialisms. And if you're totally unaware and unstudied, you may say, well, I'm going to follow this dude. He knows what's going on. No, I don't. I'm just reeling you in with my cosmetic appearance because I know you don't know any better. Because if you knew any better, you would know instantly what a fraud I am. And so what I'm saying is these people zero in on that particular ilk. People who are unstudied and totally unaware, who are easily persuaded by the cosmetic appearance of something that may mean something. I yield on that.
Islam, any more got anything else?
No, I yield. Yeah.
Islam. I'm wondering why neither one of the two brothers, when they was in the upper realm meditation, why didn't they get because they say that's where they got their knowledge from. Why didn't they get that knowledge and tell them that black means pale? That's what I don't understand what realm they went to, but they should have told them that while they was there. Black means pale. It's a German word. Yeah. And they don't look like Germans to me.
In the upper realm.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Because if you a Moor, then they start rejecting. No, I'm a Moor. I'm an Egyptian. Because if you a Moor, what you got to do? Nothing. I'll help you out. You ain't got to do nothing. Run your darn mouth and act smart. And say you are a citizen beyond American citizenship and you are not, the laws of America ain't applicable to you or whatever. Yeah, okay, go lie with that right now. They write to me all the time. They write to me at work. You know what I'm saying? I be reading these people, you know what I'm saying? They bring me their letters. Be like, I am of the Moorish temple. The credit laws do not apply to me. I'm like, get that stuff up out of here. Put that thing back on this darn credit. Anybody listen to you, black, what? What's wrong with him?
Okay, you can stop it.
I wanna.
Yeah, man.
I mean, I don't know what y'all want to say. Because everything, what do you want to start? Want to correct what he was saying? Because everything he was saying was colored in the beginning about more say this, more say that. Everything he said needs to be qualified for. And then at the end there we go again. There goes your Moors sold you into slavery right there. There you go right there. He said the Moorish document comes across his face and he's like, I want to write back to him. None of this stuff matters. And that's what a Moor, another Moor. Your own. And not the European. That's not a European right there. One of your own. He said, none of that's going to work. That's why they hired him first. They hire. You wondering why your paperwork getting sent back to you, not working, because it's your own sending it back to you. It's not the European.
Tell him again. Tell him again. Tell him again.
The European sending your paperwork back. It's your own. There he is right there. There he is. That's who's sending your paperwork back to you, saying none of this matters. This you still got to pay, and quote unquote. That's who it is right there. Your own, not a European. You thought it was a European. We all thought it was a European the whole time. Like they're not. What they say? They don't honor more stuff. Yeah, it's Moors now honoring more stuff. That's why. That's why. They're the ones that earn it, working for the European.
You know,
look at them.
It's a lot more. If their whole system, you want to say, is based upon our Zodiac Constitution, what's the argument? How can you not honor something that gives you your very limited authority? Like, that's crazy to me.
Also, if I could follow behind what the brother just stated about it's not the modern European, it's your own. Well, I can personally qualify what the brother is saying, and I know it to be true because on multiple occasions, when I'm shopping, either in Minnesota or on the road, depending on the purchase that I'm making, if it's pretty sizable, I will exercise my national political status, which is non-tax obligatory, each and every time, just like what the brother was saying. If an Asiatic is at that cash register, they are going to turn their face all kinds of ways. What is that? What is that supposed to be? And I'm like, oh, you know, is there somebody who can help me with it? And they call their manager. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a modern European. And he looks it up. No problem. I find it. Now, they're looking at me crazy. Like, what did you just do? How did you get that off? But they will block you, not understanding anything about what you're doing. And it is always the modern European who comes and facilitates this transaction. No drama of any kind. I'm not trying to even initiate it either because at the end of the day, there are times where I do get challenged, and there are times where I have to stand on my square. There are times where it may not be honored. But most of the time, I get a favorable reply because of the way I conduct myself, in spite of people trying to block what I'm attempting to do. And so I understand, man, when brother said, you know, it's not the modern European sending your paperback, it's your own. That rings so true for me because I've experienced it firsthand. And I just wanted to add that on. I yield.
Islam.
You just have to go back to the scene in Django when it was coming down the path and Samuel came out the house. So when you're conducting yourself as how you need to be and how you're supposed to be, you're going to have your own that's looking at you, just like Samuel looked at Django. And in his mind, what did he say? Who is this nigga on that nag?
On that nag, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They end up using these examples, and watch when Grand Sheik continue playing the video. They use those examples. That's how they really feel too. They feel like that. That's how they feel. That's how they feel. That's how they feel. And in speaking, it's always your own. it's always your. Like the brother said, when we exercise our right, non-tax obligated, it's come to the point where, for instance, now I remember just recently, I was doing the non-tax obligated. It was like he said, it was an Asiatic sister who challenged me. I asked for someone higher above. She says, now, it's a piece of plexiglass in there. I guess like the office was right around the corner in that plexiglass, and they can see me out on the other side. So it's right there. But the rooftop was open. So it's like an open office. She just yells the lady's name. She says, Cheryl. So my antenna's already going up because I'm like, that's not a European title. So I never seen a Cheryl come out European. Next thing I know, right? Next thing I know, Asiatic mother comes out, right? She comes out. I looked at the sister. I said, I'm sorry. Never mind. I won't need any of my stuff neither. I'll just leave. I didn't even want to deal with it because I already knew it was about to be double team. No. Like, no, what is this? They both was going to say something crazy. I already know. I already know it was going to be crazy. I just went to the store down the street where I knew it was going to be all Europeans. Soon as I just told him the number. I didn't even pull out the ID. Just told him the number. Boop, 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 boop. Oh, have a good day, sir. Da, 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 da. Simple. Simple. About to go to war with my own, though. They was about to go to war.
No, it's not. Yeah. Just move on. There have been times where I have made did some sizable shopping, and they didn't want to honor my status, and I was like, okay, fine. So anybody who can put this back for me. You don't want it? Well, if you're not gonna honor my national political status, no, nothing you can do for me. I'll put it back myself unless you have somebody who can put it back for me. But I'm done here. No show, no emotions, no going back and forth. If you don't want to honor me, I'll just like you, brother. I will move on.
Oh no, I'm not gonna be sitting. Then there's two fools yelling back and forth, and then somebody come in and see it. They don't know who's arguing or who's right. I'm a big ignorer of that.
Islam, brother Yusuf, can I ask you a question?
Islam.
What you just said about as far as you coming to a place to where you can move on. You coming to that place, did that come like right on, or was something that you developed?
Oh no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. That was not right on. That took lots and lots of patience, lots of breathing techniques, lots of preparing myself, because I know thyself. I studied myself. I know it so much. I know it's actually dangerous to put your stuff out there for people to know who you are, because they can manipulate it. But I know how I can get there, and so it was very hard for me. And sometimes I still can have to do something like tap my fingers together to let me know my lower self is strong. I have to say that to myself, because I know I would say some things or do some things in here because I'm not being honored, and I shouldn't be honored. But it's not about that, Grand Sheik has helped me a lot. Bro, we're under colonization. I'm like, yeah, there we are. And our people are warped. Because that's the only thing. Because the quote unquote colonizers, they're not giving me no issue. It's the it's the ones who are colonized the issue.
So you say that came through study, though, right?
Oh, absolutely. I had to build that. That was not first day, because I remember I went in so much on a Moabitis, going back and forth with her. She called to see if it can be verified, and I was like, yeah, go ahead, call them. She called. It was like, oh yeah, they can do it. We was going back so much. She was like, I'm still not gonna do it. And I know now that was all my fault, though. I shouldn't have been going back and forth. I realized, I shouldn't have did all of that to her. You know, I could have just, you know, she was like, I'm going to call, but she did say it rude. But right then and there, I should have just, whoever she was going to call, I already know it's going to work now. But I still kicked myself in the butt because my lower self was so strong. I'm still, well, go ahead and call. You can call whoever you want. You know how we get. You can call whoever you want. That's the first thing I said. But that's why I know that was totally my fault. You know, I shouldn't have never did that. But now I'm not doing that. There's no time for that. Then I'm stressed. You know, at the end, I'm more stressed out. My nerves is more worked up. You know, next time I come to the store, everybody's looking at that's to do with the fez on or with that thing on his head. Right. Like, I don't want that.
There's that guy.
But for the next more to come in, you know, and he is in his higher self, and I just left him there, and you know that's always rings on my mind, you know, like that. But I had to come to that.
Islam, yes.
Islam.
Man, you said it right there. You said it right there.
Islam, hold on.
Because I remember, you know, exercising the non-tax obligated for the first time in the store, and it was the cashier's first time. He put the number in, and somebody else's information popped up, a Moabitess, who I had no idea who she was or anything, and I was like, wow, like in my head, I'm thinking, I hope she didn't do anything wrong for messing up for me, you know, like that's what I'm thinking, you know what I mean? Like, but sure, whatever she did, it worked because we were in the system. I'm in the system with her. You know, first thing I said was, yeah, that's my sister. It came out regular, like, yep, that's my sister. Right there. Boom. You know, that I always think of, you know, for the next more to come in. Absolutely. That's my thinking as well.
Everybody, just wanted to do a time check. Everybody's good with time?
I'm good.
All right.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm fine. This is life, man. Right, that's it. I wasn't gonna do nothing. This is life. This is life. I'm fine, grand shit, you know. Love. You know, okay, time-wise.
Yeah, pardon that interjection. Islam to Brother Supreme Mel. Pardon that interjection, but carry on if there was anything else, or we could just go back to the video.
Islam Supreme. Islam Supreme. You don't know you want to write it, but your blood is not more. You're not Hebrew. Now pay your darn bills. Stop being stupid. Like somebody gonna take that to, ooh, he's a Moor. Let me take that right off. Oh, shut up. I don't know what's wrong with these people. They believe these lies. We told them. We tell them all the time. We made a YouTube video telling these people you're not Moor. Every day, y'all go to my YouTube right now. Every day somebody comment on their arguments. Somebody, oh, look at this. They call me Uncle Tom all the time online. They feel like I'm representing the government. Everything I be talking about, somehow they get I'm representing the government, and I'm trying to keep black people down by telling them that they're not for it. Even though I showed them all the evidence in the world for it.
Right? Now, what do you say about showing all the evidence in the world with nothing written on the boards behind you?
Nothing. That's the question. What government is he saying that he's working for?
Whatever government it is.
And what more is he talking about or saying that? You need to qualify that.
Say that again. Say that again more.
What more, he needs to qualify. What more is it saying is and coming on his page or whatever? And what's the Uncle Tom? And like the brother said, what government? Like we think we don't play those games. We know. I know what Uncle Tom is. I know who the real government is, and what government is.
My whole purpose is Moors don't think like that. Not Moors that I know.
Now, what about this? Would you say that because of the actions of dirty Moors, that Moors who are righteous have to really try to stick to the past so they don't get painted with the same brush?
Well, if you have never been to a temple or have never talked to a Moor, and I'm the first person you approach, and I tell you some things that sound okay, and then right after that, I'm leading you into all kinds of processes, and I'm getting fiat from you, and I've burned you. You can't get a hold of me. You can't contact me. You ask around for me. Nobody knows anything about me. So now this person is going to leave feeling, well, I don't want anything to do with this or these people ever again. They're all like him. Am I gonna get ripped off by somebody else wearing that hat? And so sometimes, a lot of times, your first impression is a very long-lasting one, especially if it's a bad encounter. And unfortunately, a lot of people get turned off from Moor science because of these types of individuals. Unfortunately.
Now, do you think there's a or what would you? Yeah, do you think that there's a trigger that will maybe draw that individual again later on?
Yes, I do. I think if they, by coming in contact with people, the next time they may come across a brother or sister, they may be a little bit drawn and observe them a little bit better. And by their character, the way they conduct themselves, the way they carry themselves, they may, maybe that guy was just, he was a rotten egg. Let me approach these guys because they don't seem, I've been watching them for a while, the way they conduct, the way they speak, maybe what they're about. And the reason they're willing to give that observation a try because of how they burned previously. So now they're going to sit back and observe character a little bit better. And yet they may very well give it another shot based on what they see by the character of these people.
Islam, man. To me, it's like looking for an excuse, meaning that when all of these guys are talking, they're coming from the standpoint as if the Moors are doing something wrong, and it's almost as if they don't want the responsibility. Does that make sense? So because I don't want the responsibility to know what it entails to present myself as a Moor, I'm going to try to discredit everything that is about it. But me, myself, don't want the responsibility.
They're cutting off the ungainly parts.
Right.
I say using the tools to cut off the ungainly parts.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Because I don't want the responsibility. I want to deter others not to have the responsibility. So I won't be.
Oh, that torn down mentality. Oh, yeah.
Now is this idea of the torn down, the perspective of the torn down mentality, is that also connected to, or how is that connected to our people not wanting to be Moors? Like what is making them accept this realization? Like, for example, if we use these individuals that would say that they're Hebrew, and they would say that they're that, but then say that they're not Moors. Or they'll say they're black, but say that they're not Moors. And then when you, just like you're saying, you go to the European tell you, oh, yeah, you know, Moors are black. Anybody could start up. Islam.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we're hearing you now.
You can hear me? Okay. What I was going to say, Grand Sheik, the correlation I can make to answer your question, I'm going to take an anecdote from my personal life. As a child growing up in a poor area, going to public school system, with all of these variables in place, I was still faced with members of my own community in the classroom who would taunt me, sometimes gang up on me, bully me, and jump me for the simple fact that I spoke well, I read well, I wrote well, I got good grades. We're in the same class, have the same modern European teacher, come from the same neighborhood. But I'm applying myself to get the minimum basic skills in this public school system in the same classroom with you. But while you're mocking me, making fun of me, my clothes, my sneakers, how I read, how I write, you could be doing and striving for the same thing. But it was much easier for them to make fun of me because of my Mickeys, because of my off-brand clothes, rather than focus on applying themselves to academics like me in that same classroom, using the same means. And so I say all of that to say, if a person is looking deep enough within themselves, reaching for something more, the same way they came across this information, rather than mock them and slander them and throw them under the bus, you should be trying to get down with whatever it is they're articulating and coming across with, rather than trying to tear them down, because they are you. They're the same people, same bloodline. You're latching onto something that is going nowhere, a non-descendable, simply dead status. This person, by the life that they lead, the character that they possess, what they exemplify in their daily life, is something that you can see as a positive and productive move forward. So rather than tear them down, why aren't you trying to get down with that sameness? And it's the same thing as me as a child growing up in the hood, going to this raggedy school, still excelling, impoverished just like everybody else, nothing special about me. But instead of trying, you would rather make fun of me. It's the same thing no matter what scenario you put it in. It is that same crab in a barrel mentality. If I can do it, you surely can do it. Nothing special about me at all.
I'm like, what's wrong with y'all? Don't y'all know the history? If you got a slave, right, you got real people that are Moors, right? You got Moors, and they black. You got a white person that look at them. What white people say now? We all looking like, right? Right? So if you got this black person, from the white people's perspective, look just like you. And he's a Moor. But these white people treat him with respect. You know what I'm saying? They ain't about to make him a slave. They ain't calling him the N-word. They're not doing none of that. They treat him with respect. Your black butt, they whipping you on the back. And when that white person walk up to the other one, they don't know the difference. They get to call him an N-word. He say, no, I ain't no N-word. I'm a Moor. You better watch your mouth. Because George Washington made a deal with the King of Morocco. And the King of Morocco said, I'll make trades with you under these conditions. You treat my people that's over there right. When my people come to visit, you treat them right. My people that was already there, you treat them right. So if you a black slave getting your butt whipped, and you see this Moor that from their perspective look different than you, and
go ahead. Oh, anybody had anything just for that past few seconds?
It's love.
Yeah, more.
Now, it's love. Now, did you see snuck in that? Now, the king of Morocco, and then he's coming from the perspective of Morocco over there.
Yeah.
You see that?
Mm-hmm.
You see that? Like, what is this? What is this? Like, this Morocco. This Morocco. Like, I don't understand. I'm not comprehending that. That's colored. But that statement right there, everything he just said right there was colored. The whole thing. It was the Emperor of Morocco, and you can go look up the difference between a king and the emperor. Kingdom and an empire, yes. Yeah. Yeah. Now, he knows that it was the emperor. He knows that. I'm pretty sure Moors don't talk like that. Not even the dirty Moors. I don't know. Taharka might say something like that, but even the ones coming into it, they know like it was the emperor and the kingdom over there. That's everybody. That's a pretty basic one right there. So I know he knows. I know he knows, but he still. They want to push the falsehood. They have to push it. I can't believe he did that. Like, well, you know, I can't say I can't believe. I know that's what they do. They do that. They put the word more in everything, and then they wait for the views. They wait for the views once they put the word more in there. Catchwords. You are not a Moor. Look at that. You are not a Moor. When clearly everybody in the world knows we're Moors. But the Moors.
What do you mean by that? If everybody could speak on that, what do you mean by, or what is it meant? What is meant by the whole world knows that we're Moors? When Moors say that.
We can do archaeologically. We can do architecturally. Which way you want to go? Stones, bodies that undug up. They know that we're Moors. They know. The world knows that they got Moorish gates. The world knows. Europe still has more. The brother Sheldon shows us perfectly how Europe still has more statues, more stores, and whatnot. What was that? Emperor Peru, where they were saying not Peru, but moral or whatnot, holding up signs.
Mm-hmm.
I just went from Europe to Philippines. Moros. We talking Germany to the Philippines. I mean, the Kenyans, everybody except for, you know, the Moors. Of course, the Moors. The ones that sold you into slavery.
How can we give them a pass, though, brother? Because if they're claiming to know something, then they must define what they're reading by the words. Whether they know etymology or not, they can go read the definition. So if a black or Moor is any dark-skinned person, what is the debate? What is the argument? It didn't say some over here, some born sometime, however you're traveling, what you think about today. It specifically states any.
Yeah. But if I could also add on, when you look at the lands of old Lemur, Sumer, Kemer, when you look at the carvings of a Huda Mazda wearing the headdress, and then you go down to Cambodia, or the land of Khmer, the Khmer people, and all over that land you see ancient statues with them wearing that headdress. There you go. When you go down to the Galapagos Island, Easter Island, there they are wearing that headdress. Mm-hmm. When a lot of us grew up watching, again, me and Brother Navi spoke about this earlier. A lot of us, you know, were entertained by the Saturday Kung Fu movies, particularly the ones set back in the dynastic period. Now, when you look at the cover of this book, Forced to Make Changes, with Prophet wearing the silk robe and the fez with the tassel on it, how many times in these Kung Fu films have you seen a person who's depicted as an elder, a person who's depicted as a scholar, a master, a teacher, a nobleman, member of a royal court in these dynastic period Kung Fu films, where they're wearing the silk robes, wearing the caps with the tassels? Right? Can't make that up. It says there's all over flags all over the place. All over the place, brother. Can I read you guys something?
Oh yeah, more. Go ahead, more.
By all means, absolutely.
This is from Mysteries of the Mexican Pyramid, page 365. Tablet says Churchwell also tell of Osiris being born in Atlantis, when she traveled 20,000 years before Christ to move, to become a master. So as to return to Atlantis to eliminate the extravagances, superstition, misconception, and inventions that crept into the Atlantean religion. Osiris is reported as having reinstalled in Atlantis an original religion of love and simplicity, of which he became high priest. From Atlantis, the Assyrian religion was carried to Egypt by thought about 16,000 years ago. A religion which reportedly contained word for word and sentence for sentence the same teachings as those of Jesus, and from which Moses fathered his doctrine of monotheism. They're speaking about Mu, and we know that Hawaii is attached to Mu still, as we speak today. The same people who these blacks are glorifying dealing with Osiris, you got his information from your ancestors.
No.
What's the argument? Huh?
Love.
He get respect as soon as he say he more. What you gonna? What, I mean, your smart self. What you gonna start doing? More. You better not hit me with that. I'm a war. I've been a war the whole time. I just found out, but I've been a war. And so you say it, and you say it, and you repeat it, and you love your kids. You know your kid. You had a hard life. You've been whipped on your back, but that thing worked for you. And you love your kids. What you gonna teach your kids to say? You tell these people you're a more. Back in your day, and Mother's Day, and all that stuff, was it strict for us to dress a certain way, to represent ourselves a certain way? Why? Why did the parents do that to their kids? I love my kid. I don't want my kid to be turned around from a job.
Okay, so what does this speak to? Like 10 times, probably more, the little brother or sister that's sitting there right now, crying or whatever, they're calling him a kid. Like, what does that do to the psyche of the young people, specifically the children, not being taught about who they are and their status? And anybody could jump in on that one.
There's a lot more. You have to call things what they are. And words have power. So he, as well as others, are invoking certain energies upon these youths. Because they're not gates. And it comes, I'm a result of what happens when you get it late in life. I didn't get it from the womb. But I have a child now who came out the womb and he's a babe. He's not going to be confused. Like, he is who he is, without doubt or contradiction. So when you come from a standpoint of being called kids, me when I was black, you give to black things. You do black things. There's a mystique, there's an energy there. As opposed to when you're called what you should be called. Then you're invoking the right energy.
Islam. And just to add in this one of the mothers in the chat said, and then you could also respond to this with the question too. I told my daughter to say she's a Moor, and her teacher responded with, "You're gonna go far in life, little girl," and walked away with a smile.
That's right. Well, if I can add to that, there's a co-worker that I knew from way back, and we recently started communicating. As I'm coming into the knowledge, because we were good friends, and so I'm also relating this information to him. I don't want to keep it to myself. He was receptive to it, so we would discuss things more and more detail with every conversation. I lead him to tell him about RV Bay publications, the books that are available. We continue to have discussions over a period of time, and he says, "Well, I'm a Moor too." I was like, "Yeah, you are." And so, to get to the point, there was a time when he went, Brother Navi, we were talking about this earlier, he went to a doctor up in the Bronx, New York there. And when he went to the doctor, he's telling me how he had to fill out a form, some personal information about himself. When it got to the ethnicity part, He saw all of these things, and he tells his wife is sitting right next to him. He says, I'm going to put more. And his wife said, why are you going to do that? You know, she was very derisive with him. Why are you going to do that? He said, because this is what I am, and this is what I'm going with. The doctor comes in, modern European doctor, and he looks at his form that he filled out, and he looks up at him, and he says, oh, you know who you are. Good for you. And they had this examination, and his wife is looking there with her mouth wide open. He said, did you hear that, Marie? You heard what he said? And so it was a testament to him. Oh, okay, this is real. And he's going forward with his studies. He has a different outlook on things. He's very positive about it. He's very receptive about it. And he's taking it to heart. But if it goes back to he was actually looking for something, because he didn't have to, he could have rejected anything I said to him, even though we're good friends. If he wasn't looking for that, he was like, what are you talking about, this more stuff? Obviously, he was looking for something. He's very dialed into the status. He wanted to know more about that. He wanted to read more and research and study about that. And he's growing exponentially, because every time we have a conversation, he sounds more confident. He was, not to say that he was never a confident man, but I mean in terms of this nationality and birthrights. He is more confident. He is willing to stand on his square. He's willing to say who he is without any reservation at all. This is a stark contrast from the friend that I spoke a year ago. And this is what can happen. When people understand what denotative and connotative means, what brands and nom de guerres mean, as opposed to having an actual nationality and status coupled to your birthright. And it's very real to him, and he's taking it very seriously, and he's taking it upon himself to learn more for himself. He's not even asking me anything hardly now. He's looking it up on his own now. And I just wanted to add that on. I yield.
He's one.
Real quick. When he calls the child a kid, he's also denationalizing him, because we know that a kid is a baby goat, and a goat would be chattel, which is chattel property, which you're denationalizing and calling the child a kid. And what he just did, whoever is the mother of that child should be pressing charges on him for international law, because in the Principle 3, it tells you every child is entitled to at birth a name and a nationality. So he just broke the law, huh? Like that's not a game what that man is doing. She should be pressing charges. She should be pressing charges. International law. That's what just happened. He just branded somebody's child. Calling it a kid, same thing. Nigga color black, same thing. Every child has a right to a nationality. That's wrong. Absolutely. Well, absolutely. And by even making that presentation, referring to them as kids, in the process of doing so, he's taking them out of the human family of nations.
Aren't they doing that openly themselves by saying that they're not more?
Yeah. As well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. As well.
That's Robin
turtle too, correct? I want to have, there you go. That's what it is. I couldn't think of it. There you go, boy. That was it. That's crazy. Well, you know what? When you say it like that, brother, if you make that presentation and nobody checks him, then that's acceptance and acquiescence, isn't it?
Wow. Woo! Oh. Oh. And you know, when we compound that over, you know, different schools of thought that's doing this exact same thing of denationalizing thousands of people because they know that they're Moors. They got the same lessons that we got.
Very same.
They can't say they're teaching something. Hold on one sec. Please, more.
Peace.
Yeah. Islam. Yeah, they can't say that they don't have this information. There's no way that they don't know what we know. Because like we're saying, the whole world knows what the Moors know.
Mm-hmm.
The world knows what the Moors know. And the Moors don't know? The Moors are playing that they're everything else? Except their ancient foremothers and forefathers. But they're everything else. But the Moors, yeah, they want nothing to do with that. I find like with our people picking up on this info, what aspects of it would lead them on the right path? Because there's some, you know, like there's some stuff that you might not want to learn first day in because of the influence that information might have on the individuals, you know, exercising it later.
Well, what I would say, Rancy, to that specifically, without getting deep, without trying to crack heads with overwhelming information, let's start with the minor grammatical errors that people systematically and routinely use on a daily basis. Let's get down, start off with the 8 parts of speech. Because there's no sense at all of going forward in any aspect or area of this knowledge if you're not clear on the grammatical uses of language. Specifically, knowing the difference between a descriptor and an identifier. I know we say this time and time again, but if you're not clear on the 8 parts of speech, how to effectively and properly and precisely use grammar, there's no sense in trying to treat anything until you are clear on these basic concepts. What is an American? Who's not an American? Do you know what American even means? What is an adjective? What is a noun? Why are you identifying with an adjective? It doesn't identify you. It may describe you to some degree, but it is not an identifier. And these things seem very right and talked about extensively, you know, over and over again. But these same issues are what people are chronically caught up on. And they can't get beyond these grammatical errors. And they're trying to talk about metaphysics. They're trying to talk about law. They're trying to get into history and astrology, cosmology. How can you even treat these things when you're not even clear on your grammatical errors that you continuously are making? And they are kidding themselves if they think they can move forward with clarity if they're not clear on the basic use of language. They haven't even begun to scratch the surface until they're clear on how to speak. And I'm going to yield the floor on that. I would just say you have to have an open mind first. You have to push what you think you know to the side. You have to push your pride and your ego to the side. And just be open to a quote-unquote new idea. That's the start. You have to be open to receive it first. Because if you come in already with the angle, you're going to miss it. Islam. Islam. I agree with both of the brothers in as much also with the prophet when he says about everyone is not going to be safe. You know, everybody's not going to get this. You know, it's not. This ain't for this. This not for everybody. You know, so like I'm not gonna that yelling and trying to and make them know who they are. No, that was a couple years ago. I'm not doing that anymore. If you don't know, hey, if you didn't take it and go run with it, what the prophet say? What do you want me to do? Kill you? You know? Yeah. That's what it is, man. That's what it is. You brothers nailed it. And other than that, you just add that on top of it. Because that's what it is. The parts. Go ahead, brother. I'm sorry. I apologize. I just want to say I love you, Morris, man. I really love you. I just want to say Morris know that.
Islam, man. Islam. And yeah, we'll close out on that. We'll close out on that. What compels this thing that we have going on as faithful, active Moorish Americans that have a allodial American constitutional mindset? Everybody could give their piece on that, and then we'll close out.
I feel that probably not what my nationality birthright is. There's a great duty with that. Because in order for it to be for me, it's the nation. It's not just me. It's the nation. Is the fact that I have a nationality. So, the fact of knowing, I feel that I'm obligated to teach someone who doesn't know. And as long as I'm being the example right in the back, I trust that I'm going to encounter. That's all that's going to enter into my frequency. So I want to do the appropriate study. I want to know what I'm talking about. Because when it's presented to someone else and they do their due diligence, truth doesn't change, it doesn't pass away. They're going to come to the same exact conclusion that I came to. But that's why me to be with like-minded brothers who I feel that they feel the exact same way I feel. And not only do I know they feel that way, I can see it through their actions, through how they are taking it upon themselves to be selfless and teach someone who doesn't know, not to keep the information for themselves. Wrong?
It's wrong.
Wrong. Grand Sheik, could you I want to be able to answer you effectively. Can you repeat your question one more time, please?
Oh yeah. The question was just with regard to the people who are on the same mindset and have this unconditional appreciation and love for each other, and we could be on the phone for 3 hours and never an argument or never a fight or never a disagreement about something. Like what? How is that manifest? What is making this thing be like this?
Well, again, I would like to share something personal about myself, and I hope the Moors in the chat find this very relative to the question. I personally come from a family of Masons and Eastern Stars on both sides. On my father's side, I would have been a seventh generation Mason. I would have been a seventh generation Mason. My grandmother, my paternal grandmother, comes from a long line of Eastern Stars. Why do I bring this up? How is this relevant? Because no one has ever sat me down and discussed any of the things that were discussed tonight. Ever. I am an adult, middle-aged man. And to date, none of these relatives belonging to these societies, with their feathers, with their tassels pinned down, these Eastern Stars of these degrees, none of these family, none of these blood, none of these flesh and bone family members has ever in my life articulated any aspect of this knowledge to me. So how has it affected me? How divine is this? That despite of everybody being mum about Moorish science and my Moorish history, despite it all, despite their taking these oaths to conceal this knowledge from their own relatives, their own nieces, nephews, sons, and daughters, I came upon this knowledge with much more clarity and understanding that they can ever have in their 30 years in these lodges, in their 20 years in these lodges. Case in point, my mother's older brother, her closest sibling, one of my favorite uncles growing up, he was discussing something about masonry, and he tells me that he's going to become a Shriner. And I'm like, okay. Well, at this point, I had been studying for a considerable amount of time, and I said, well, Uncle, you got to get your finances up because they're going to hit you up for a donation. He says, what are you talking about? I said, well, at this stage of your life, going for a Shriner, they're assuming that you're an accomplished person, and they're going to hit you up for a donation. And so, to make a long story short, he gets to this point where he's got his degree. He's now a Shriner. He calls me up and says, nephew, I'm a Shriner. I'm like, well, good for you, Uncle. And I said, if you don't mind, what questions did I ask you? Did they ask you what you believe in? He said, yeah, how did you know? I said, what did they ask you? He said, yeah. I said, what did you say, Uncle? He said, I told him that Jesus Christ was my Lord and Savior. I said, well, I don't know how to break this to you, but you're not going to go any higher. And he said, what do you mean? I said, what do I mean? I said, what are you wearing today? What are you wearing on your head? He says, I'm wearing a fez. I said, do you not have a crescent moon and star? Do you not have a scimitar over the top of it? Aren't your secret words Assalamu alaikum? I said, but you told them that Jesus Christ was your Lord and Savior. You're not going to go any higher because you didn't understand the lessons of all this time you've been in the lodges. I said, was there any other brothers with you going for that degree that day? He said, yeah. I said, did you see him for the rest of the day? He said, no. And I said, now, the reason I'm going into this with you, Uncle, because I'm your nephew, and you just swore an oath to keep the mother subjected by, when you look at your face with that crescent moon and star, isn't that the picture of a Moabitess? He didn't answer me. He didn't say not one word. And when we hung up the phone, it has been over a year and some months. We have not spoken since that last day.
That one hit hard. That one hit hard.
We have not spoken. He calls my mother up, Grand Sheik, and wanting to know if I'm a Mason. My mother said, no, he's not a Mason. What are you talking about? How does he know so much? No, now she's getting angry. What do you mean? What does he know? Well, he knows so much. He must be a Mason. And she said, look, fool, he is not a Mason. That's my son. I know if he's a Mason, and he's not belonging to none of that foolishness. And don't call me anymore. She hung up on him. And he was so pissed. Now, mind you, this is the same person who never told me
anything
or gave me any information at all, ever.
Forced to make
changes. And now I'm schooling him. And it was too much. And he has never spoken to me since. My father, now this is even more personal, Morris. My father is a retired professor from a university in South Carolina. Neither one of them are Prince Hall. They're international Masons. So I know my father knows what he's doing. He knows what he's a part of. He knows what he's sworn an oath to. And this is my father we're talking about. Understand, Morris, what I'm saying. This is my father. He's never given me any information to me or my brothers at all. And on top of that, he's a professor or was a professor at one of these HBCUs. Do I need to tell you what kind of curriculum he taught? His Afrocentric studies. All the while knowing full well that that is a bunch of nonsense. But he has his oath. And his oath meant more to him than his people or his flesh and bone children. But you know what? For the grace of Allah, he's given us the gift of Prophet Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali, peace be upon him. And he blew the covers off of all of these secret societies, and I give thanks. And so, on that, Morris, I'm going to yield the floor on that.
Give thanks for that, Moore.
And
that was crazy. Brother Yusuf.
Yeah, I'm telling you, he just tore it up. He shut it down. I don't have, but I can, do a little, but nothing like that, man. I could just add on to what he was saying too, because, like he says, I didn't come from a line of Masons or anything, but right now, going through, I say, my journey of what I've been going through right now. I've said it before on the record that, my aunt, Moabitess, she's married to to a European, modern European son. And he's 87 years old. You know, my aunt in her 80s too as well. I go over there and just help take care of him, you know, because she's blind and he's old. I knew him all my life. You know, I came out the womb. That was who I seen, you know, so it's all peace. But with the degree, I, you know, finally go over there after years coming to the information. I go over there. Feds is up, of course. Now, the whole time, you know, I didn't know nothing about, you know, what this, you know, my aunt's husband, I didn't know what he did or nothing like that. It was just, you know, I come over, cookouts, you know, growing up, that was about it. Now, I go over there, one-on-one situations. Now, everything has changed. I get private lessons on masonry from the Europeans, because come to find out now, talking to him, he's a 33rd degree peer potentate, master mason. He just had his 50th anniversary the other last year, right? Now, when I tell you this European gives me a lot of information, he gives me the things too. Like I have masonry Bibles. He gave me his masonry pendant that was 14 karat gold or whatnot. But it wasn't really that. It's his brother is another mason who held and did all the rituals, and he was a Catholic priest or whatnot, and he was head of the Masonic Lodge. And this is all during the 40s. He got inaugurated in 1947. Like he's been in it forever or something, like forever. But I have gotten access to his brother has passed on. I've gotten access to his private library that he still has at his house with his wife and children there. I get access to their books, read the books, everything. I read the ritual, get to see all the rituals, everything. It's not like it reminds me of like what Brother Hakeem said. Like he was just waiting for the right one to come, you know, or the right ones to come. They're not going to just put our own, like he was saying. His father didn't tell him anything. But I got this 87-year-old European, you know, still paying his dues, still in it, and just giving me all the information. But he took death oaths, you know. But it reminds me again of what the master teacher Abdullah said. You got a choice, you know. And this European right now, he's making his choice. I know he up in age, you know, it's a difference. He's 87, but he's laying it all out. He's giving me everything. He may not be giving me everything, but he's giving me. He's not talking to me like, oh, that's that Muslim stuff. Like he made me know. Like, oh, I know that this is Morocco. You got the Moors, you know, like that and stuff like that. Those everything Todd says or what we've been studying. These Europeans know to the extremist power. To the extremist power. They study us very well. I'm talking about all types of books, maps. I've seen Civil War books with all pictures of Moors in it, you know, that he had because his grandfather was in it. They know about us. They know exactly who we are. But then he also knows about our own selling us out. He has a lot of stories about that too. Like he'll let me tell me a lot of stories about the quote unquote black politicians here who knew about the Moors and still did what they did. European, 87 years old, 33rd degree. Like he said, I am a 33rd degree master mason. I was like, what? I was like, wow. Has all his stuff memorabilia upstairs in his he was in some war. He has it in his big old treasure set. All his memorabilia in it. And I'm like, crazy. everything we thought, yes, the Europeans are doing it. Yes, they are. Rituals and all. His brother actually, I know I'm talking, but his brother actually passed on. He had got put in the crazy house. This is what he's telling me. His exact words was, the powers of all beasts took over his body because of the rituals he was doing. But the rituals he was doing were too powerful for who he thought he was. This is what the man was telling me, because they know that they can't do what we can do if we activate it. To the point where the brother got diagnosed in the crazy house, died of schizophrenia and some other disease, because what his brother said, the powers of all beasts took over his body while he was doing those rituals. I yield the floor.
Islam.
I would like to add.
Oh, go ahead, more.
Brother just related to us.
Yeah.
Just briefly, I'll be brief.
Oh, it's all good, more. Take your time. Take your time. You don't worry.
When he was talking about the elder modern European Muslim son relating things to him, specifically about some of these leaders who know the truth and are not saying anything, that qualifies what Elder Taj Bey has been saying when he says, when they get tired of your nonsense, they say, get out of my face and go to your Negro leader guys who know the truth and are playing you. Right? And from what the brother was relating to us, he qualifies that. And Elder Taj has been teaching us this for quite a while. And by the accounts of the brother's interaction with this Muslim European son, he qualified that just now. By relating these anecdotes, these accounts from his personal experiences with these interactions with this modern European Muslim son. These are things that seriously need to be considered. And I just wanted to briefly add that in, and I yield Islam.
Islam was. I want to say give thanks for your time today. The Moors are definitely going to learn something from this one. Peace and love to all the Moors worldwide. If the Moors have any closing out shout outs, you can throw those out.
Islam. Give thanks to the panel, give thanks to the Grand Chief. And if you're near the Springfield, Massachusetts territory, we have classes started up every Saturday at 16 Acres Library.
Say that one more time.
It's from 11 to 1.
Yeah.
11 a.m. to 1 in the afternoon.
And repeat the spot again.
It's called 16 Acres Library. 16 Acres, 167. It's always together. So it's the 16 Acres Library as well. Thanks to the panel. Get that through that sheet. I appreciate you more, man.
There's a lot more.
I'd like to, I would like to take this opportunity to give thanks to you, Grand Chief, for having me on this panel with these absolutely wonderful brothers. I give thanks to them. Islam, peace and love to all the Moors in the chat. I love all of you. And in closing, as always, I want to give high honors to the Universal Prophet, Sheikh Sharif Abdul Ali, peace be upon him. I give thanks, Islam. Islam. You sat down and you attacked the master teacher because you thought you heard something that you didn't hear. That's the first violation. You don't come in. First of all, you come in and you act like you come in peace, but you don't. You got to
upright, independent and fearless. Dogmatized, dirty Moors, tongues cut out, left earless, cause they never listen. Dirty Moors, keep up your slander. Wu-Tang torture in your ass, hot hangers. Kidnappers, dirty Moor, torture him like Saw. 3D, 0 from 5 or 1 through 4. Or get it like 5 or 6 with a fez on jigsaw. Leather face in a turban, rip dirty Moors lips off. Disrespecting the mother Raz Mariah Bay. Wrap him up like double crochet, the barbed wire way. Throw him off a bridge or feed him to the piranhas. Yellow journalists more spread nothing but propaganda. Idi Amin Bay, treat the temple like Uganda. Dirty Moors like foreigners, crush the dust like ganja. Not worthy of being Moors, we call them dirty Nehesus. Solomon Seal spell command 72 demons to get you.
This is what the temple guys actually said. That Canaan land is not a part of North America. Canaan land is bigger. Yo, it's ignorant, man. I mean, come on, you're talking about the same land, man. Canaan land is actually bigger than the landmass they know as the corporate United States. Almost twice as big. And if they had any sense, they can just go to Google and they can type in North America and find out North America goes all the way up to Greenland. But they're ignorant. They don't want to do that. They just dealing off emotion.
You might hear hoarse voices, see frog faces, and rooster feet. Demons we run with, spit fire with gold wolf teeth. Keep playing, forget back teeth. New Moors are an issue, get Ginsu. Maybe a dream visit from Ishnu, a nightmare to never end and always continue. Cold as an igloo, dealing with my trust issues through vigilance. Active Moors are militants, SPLC dirty Moors call that sovereign citizen. Lying for views, they notice all the empty pews. Benz need gas and fixing, but not enough dues. Pigpen base sell you out for peanuts, claiming that we nuts for teaching birthright street level, keeping it beat nuts.
To any members of the MSTA that's out there listening to what I'm saying, please get it through your head. I don't have a problem with the MSTA. I got issues with
Kendrick Lamar, stay surrounded by feathers. Dirty's guilty of fraud if dually scrutinize their ledgers. Getting proclamations from Morocco, disrespect us. Corporate city only recognize people's court jesters. Hand in their back, Moorish puppets and minions. Never get the human rights recognition like Moors near Virginia. Commonwealth, for active Moors, knowledge the Commonwealth. Dirty's claim more, but really on the straw man health. Authenticating a birth certificate, that's not significant. Civil little more two status syndicate. In more face, watch them two more status Indians claiming Turtle Island are lying so intricate.
long days and long nights. But this message needed to be heard.
The rhyme making no sense to make dollars and holler. On our grounds, rounds leave Moors dead in parlors. So-called blacks call them cracker, then get called Canadian and shun Moors that say they're not Canadian. This world is full of crazy men with no knowledge of self, but got the most expensive cars and flat screens on the wall shelf. Going all the way to try to help you change what you won't. And I hardly hear your opinion of Marcus Garvey, but Steve Harvey stands out, true, cool, and jester, making a fool of you and himself for wealth. To me, those sellouts need to get bodied or exiled to Dr. Moreau's island with Gentiles and reptiles. Fake slave ships stacking bodies and piles, giving fake Jews slave respect, not giving me smiles, calling children kids, chasing after Taji guys, supremacy, use albino and half-breed spies. We catch trespassers with razors and mesh, pedophile, torture, scotch bonnet and open flesh. Traitors get the shitty end of the stick. Our leaders murderers should have been crushed with pyramid bricks. Huey Newton and Hampton killers should be in front of a squad shooting by any means necessary. Get out the beast's belly. Why y'all get mad glory and your flows mad corny? Your skin tight jeans put you in trash category. Most rappers' names on lists for rhyme pad or Lori. Making me comments mad derogatory. Why y'all get mad glory and your flows mad corny? Your skin tight jeans put you in trash category. Most rappers' names on lists for rhyme pad or Lori. Making me comments mad derogatory. It's all about balance, my art the beam. Sellouts made it mainstream. Underground is almost unseen. Gay A&R signed the rappers' contracts in blood. Took his soul. Body didn't fall with a thud. He's a zombie, dyed hair, dress wearing thug. Burn that garbage, too much to sweep under the rug. Police can't collar a crime without snitches. You're lucky to escape their custody, not dead with just stitches. Make you hate your hair, take Hindus to Ganesha possess ya. And raising your blood pressure. Anything to do with Moors, they don't want you near. Don't search where it's black, you won't find it there. No matter how much you beg, they won't tell you where. No matter how much you don't have, they won't tell you here. Negroes weren't the first slaves, no reparations first. While you wait for your reparations, it looks like a hearse. They won't pay you reparations anyway. Only if you agree to make yourself black and gay. Instead of towards Moors, they want you to stray. Won't find your mind when it's in disarray. Thinking being European is the only way. Hurling insults at your creator. She will get you later. Why y'all get mad glory and your flows mad corny? Your skin tight jeans put you into F category. Most rappers' names on lists for rhyme pad or lorry. Making me comments mad derogatory. Why y'all get mad glory and your flows mad corny? Your skin tight jeans put you in F category. Most rappers' names on lists for rhyme pad or lorry. Making me comments mad derogatory. What's the reason for the treason is the question and the lesson. I hear most professing, but really possessing. Taking minds messing with thought patterns and pathways. Nero wanna be a hero when they really cipher, not Neo, not Morpheus or Gillen finding Nemo. Selling out with no remorse, you and yours. Calling you black, showing you who's the boss. Always marching, but never thought sue the police force or do like Haitians. Add some voodoo, of course. You might hurt them unexpected. It could be bloody. Feel your cells curl and your hair stand from walking duppies. Looked, all of a sudden, judge yelled and wept. In court, judge with cold sweats and throat strap. You can't talk yet, cause the candle was lit before I left. Forget Africa. Hip hop was the grand theft. Why y'all get mad glory and your flows mad corny? Your skin tight jeans put you into F category. Most rappers' names on lists for rhyme pad or lorry. Making me comments mad derogatory. Why y'all get mad glory and your flows mad corny? Your skin tight jeans put you in F category. Most rappers' names on lists for rhyme pad or lorry. Making me comments mad derogatory.
Moore's World TV, huh? More like Asian World TV, you dig? Tired of all these agent provocateurs slamming the right. I call y'all out. We call y'all out. Y'all out there. I smell an agent. You smell an agent. I smell an agent. Yeah. You better watch them, boy. Fight them, sell out, lurk in the corner. Best with me, they coming with that folly, taking you money. I smell an agent. You smell an agent. I smell an agent. Yeah. You better watch them, boy. Fight them, sell out, lurk in the corner. Best with me, they coming with that folly, taking you money. It's a shame, man. You dirty Moors, man. Trying to equate legalese the law, man. How incompetent as you can be. But it ain't no stopping the movement, cause I locked out the front seat. Better get your mind right. Real Moors about to highlight. Real Moors about to hype. Y'all just looking for the limelight. If you were really studying, you would know who is who and recognize this is Moors. I ain't really think you got that system. Grab y'all niggas for grace. Can you believe it? Grace. Yeah, I know this for sure. I smell an agent. You smell an agent. I smell an agent. Yeah. You better watch them, boy. Fight them, sell out, lurk in the corner. Best with me, they coming with that folly, taking you money. I smell an agent. You smell an agent. I smell an agent. Yeah. You better watch them, boy. Fight them, sell out, lurk in the corner. Best with me, they coming with that folly, taking you money.
It's a shame, man. These dirty Moors, man. Watching all you dirties through the hairs that's crossed, man. Noble Drew, Ali, and Garvey met with Burner Cross, man. We solved the Negro problem with the Circle 7 Koran. Young Pharaoh prostitutes for the Moorish foreign substitutes, using Sarah suit and mascot for their SETI institutes. Speaking lies, Mormons black is really from some Greek gods. Masonry is ancient Egypt, watch me speak in sleep spies. Wearing arms, wearing feathers, singing these tunes to you. FOH, Sarah, Elena, they couldn't lose to you. All Negro conscious movies, where were you at years ago? While we were studying occult and metaphysical, bet not around. Now you slander, you bums of the town. Spellbound, you dirty Moors from a Washita burial mound. Send you to the background, Moors are in the front ground. Ready to defend the teachers, anywhere is the battleground.
I smell an agent. You smell an agent. I smell an agent.
Yeah, I smell it
better
too.
watch it, boy. Fight them sell out, lurk in the corner. Best with me, they coming with that folly, taking you under.
What?
I smell an agent. You smell an agent. I smell an agent.
Who?
You better watch it, boy. Fight them sell out, lurk in the corner. Best with me, they coming with that folly, taking you under.
Forget what your cat's talking about. Go to RVBasePublications.com. Canaanland Moors on YouTube. Taj Tariq Bay. Kabir Bay. Moonlight Yale. We now royalty. Ramiel Bay. MoorsDirectory.com. And the list goes on and on. We are for the uplifting and fall of humanity. Real.
Yeah. Now we seek that higher knowledge. Only the ignorant can't relate. We just kill them with love instead of hate. That's what it's about.
We are Moors.
Shout out to the grass shake, Cujo L, Iron Sheik.
Yeah, we are Moors. Heard what I said? Circle 7 snapback, not just affairs. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Blue, white, green flags, not just red. We are Moors. Heard what I said? Keep talking reckless and hoofties for your head. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Your slave name crest might have a Moor head. We are Moors.
20 Moors rockin', you could call them Moroccans. Racial West adepts, let's get it poppin'. Got a problem with my sheet? Got a problem with me. I be on the front line rolling 23 deep. I be studying for hours, 7 days a week, working on my higher self, cause the devil don't sleep. Big ups to Cujo L, that's the Iron Sheik. 7's up, facing the east, praising Allah. Astrology, cosmology, that's the real law. I slow roast ya, master the flame like Zoe Roaster. The rise of the new Moors, old heads move over. That Kundalini energy rising up like a cobra. This is training day, mount up with real soldiers. Elevate beyond the hate and claim your lost estate. The only reason you hate is you too blind to relate. The only reason you hate is you too blind to relate.
We are Moors. Heard what I said? Circle 7 snapback, not just affairs. We are Moors. You heard what I said? I don't rock a hat, just a turban, no affairs. We are Moors. Heard what I said? Keep talking reckless and hoofties for your head. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Your slave name crest might have a Moor head. Stop talking crazy. You can't be everything but Moors. That's like willing to stay minority and not mature. Therefore, Taj Tariq Bey taught the world don't respect you. However, since you want to be it, you go down when they fall. They, the ones you call government, that's really a corpse. Black man means funeral director. Should make sense, of course. Music is the food, and the message, the medicine. Humble food is poison. I'm with the golden era veterans like Mark D, condolences, QB, RIP prodigy, who studied the history of the Moors and etymology. You missed the Corsica headband, disguised as a bandana. Moorish MC, the real Moroccan, not a French Montana. Kendrick Lamar, you sound right. Trust me, Hebrew's a language. Lupe put Moors in the video, made the point vantage. Yassine Bey knows Sabebe, knows Moorish master MC. Fufan Bey and Daddy IU on some Moorish degrees. Sprague and Bojuno, they even killed Peter because of Macintosh. Still visit the couple planets, hip-hop astronauts. Milky Way flow, rays of tassels, blind unbelievers. To higher than other senses, can still pick up the frequency. Kick your addiction, truth will still make itself known. To go platinum now, you gotta give up more plus a soul. Large professor built pyramids, I watch Dream Jam steady. Cause Nori said you are on a track, so call me petty. Also Martin Moore exec produced the War Report album. Aboriginal Super Cat taught me how to hang and scalp them. Operation Lockdown, video feathers like I said to do. Initiate invasions, activate at doors every spook. We are Moors. Heard what I said? Circle 7 snapback, not just affairs. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Blue, white, green fairs, not just red. We are Moors. Heard what I said? Keep talking reckless and hoopties for your head. We are Moors. You heard what I said? Your slave name crest might have a Moor head. We are Moors. We are Moors. Heard what I said? We are Moors. Heard what I said? Heard what I said? Heard what I said? We are Moors. We are Moors.
As he walked past the city's castle, he interrupted his return and climbed the stone ramp that led to the top of the wall. From there, he could see Africa in the distance. Someone had once told him that it was from there the Moors had come to occupy all of Spain.
Crazy, crazy, crazy. The gods must be crazy. 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 Crazy, crazy. The gods must be crazy.
What you looking up for, God? I'm talking to you. Weed smelling like dead bodies, loving a shoe. Baby goats popping out for government checks. To the honorable moms, no disrespect. I'm not talking about the matriarch, but what the deadbeat dad, fake comrade, two-faced nigga, stab you in your back multiple times. Homicides and manslaughter, a friendship on the rise. Watch the gods with pseudo doctrines, big shades. I stay back and listen to old school stay sane. Around the gods, always have a bag of crystals in demon spaces, amethyst missiles. 30 more speech de factos will make you officials when study is beneficial.
Crazy, crazy, crazy. The gods must be crazy. Crazy, crazy. The gods must be crazy. Crazy, crazy. The gods must be crazy. Crazy, crazy. The gods must be crazy.
Enslaved by your own, didn't listen to prophet. Now you're living in sin. One tube, I can't stop it. You made your bed, lay down. Now you sleep standing. Notwithstanding in a dead status, birthrights abandoned. Rather stay dirty instead of turning your card in. Then take your fares off if you're not turning your card in.
Crazy, crazy, crazy. The gods must be crazy.